Tanumo, or Nunchoni How or Dama, Chicheli Wekun, Wayanuchumo, or Solimojiake, Ubaonani, Aya, Baba Shushui. Amen.
Here are some stories making the headlines from the regions. Now, residents of Mafitove have raised concerns over schools' infrastructure challenges affecting teaching and learning in the community. The only basic school in the area is on the verge of collapsing due to a dilapidated condition, making it difficult for teachers to accept postings in the community. According to the youth, if urgent action is not taken, the school would collapse, which will further disrupt education in the area. The chairperson for Mafitove Association, Felix Afeti, attributed the lack of development projects to prolong the chieftaincy disputes in the community.
It has become so difficult for us to get together to actually do things to develop. So because of that, development has actually delayed. The assembly, for instance, due to our situation, they are also looking at us like that. Considering our school, for the period, there has not been any development in the school.
The chairman for planning committee for the youth festival, Emmanuel Atide, said the poor condition of the classrooms have created fear among both people and teachers.
The classroom block is leaking and dilapidated because it is very old. When it rains, both pupils and teachers find it difficult to continue teaching and learning. We also do not have a kindergarten block in the community, and this is affecting enrollment and growth of the school.
The assembly member of the Vedo lecture area, Raymond Atitre, noted that another challenge facing the school is the absence of school feeding program in the school.
If the school feeding program is introduced in the school, more children will return to attend the community school. The money parents currently spend on transporting their children from other schools that benefit from the program can be used for other important needs. We therefore appeal to the government to include Tove Basic School in the school feeding program so that the children can also benefit from it.
He said this has forced some parents to transfer their children to other nearby government schools, which is affecting enrollments at the school. Meanwhile, the Mafitove Youth Association has organized a fundraising derby aimed at mobilizing funds to construct a kindergarten block and renovate the dilapidated classrooms to improve teaching and learning conditions in the community. For more stories, kindly log on to our website www.metrotvonline.com and follow us on all social media platforms at Metro TV Ghana.
The opportunity to add my voice to this important legislation. Mr. Speaker, as my colleagues have said, my duty basically is to sum up the views of the minority on this important bill. Mr. Speaker, the minority stands in support of the principles of establishing the University of Engineering and Agricultural Sciences. Our country's development future depends on engineering capacity, agricultural innovation, and technical expertise. And we are proud to have championed access to higher education across this republic. But, Mr. Speaker, support for a principle is not a blank check for a flawed bill. It is precisely because we want this university to succeed that we stand here today to demand it to be properly constituted, properly funded, and properly accountable. Mr. Speaker, why do we raise concerns in spite of our support for the bill? One, Mr. Speaker, not too long ago, we were informed that His Excellency the President had assured the people in Volta region, particularly those in the enclave where Ohawu Training Agric College is situated, that it was going to be a full university was going to be upgraded to a full university with the necessary legislation. Mr. Speaker, we also had a statement from Honorable Edem Agbana, which statement a referral was made to the Education Committee to consider and report for further referral to the Ministry of Education. Mr. Speaker, having gone through the report and the bill itself, I don't see anywhere that Ohawu Agric College is mentioned. However, in the minister's submission, he indicated that Ohawu Agric College is going to be one of the campuses. But Mr. Speaker, the bill, the report does not capture that. More so, the report is saying that there would be only 3 campuses as indicated in the original bill. And any other campus would have to be approved by GTEC. Mr. Speaker, there are 2 issues here. One, the safe landing that the Minister of Education is providing is not captured. 2, Mr. Speaker, the issue is not about making Ohawu a campus. The issue is about the assurances given to the chiefs and the people there that that part of the Volta region where Ohawu Agric College is, we need to create a space for economic growth. And Mr. Speaker, in creating that space for economic growth, we are not only looking at the student population, but the entire value chain. Mr. Speaker, in fact, the day this statement was made, my dad was very happy because it was one of the early students who trained in that college, and was later sent to Modena for agric mechanization training. So the 82-year-old man was very happy. But we hear from the Minister of Education that now it is going to be a campus and it's not even captured. Mr. Speaker, will beg a very huge question for an answer. I therefore would want the policy to be reconsidered. Mr. Speaker, that said, the respected Honorable Collins Dauda made a very profound statement. And I don't want that statement to just remain the way it is. First, I adopt that aspect of his contribution as though they were mine, and at the risk of adding to the superfluity of that statement, let me say a few things. Mr. Speaker, oftentimes we initiate, but we forget about the value chain, the end product. Mr. Speaker, we have so many universities in Ghana. I'm not against establishing universities, but what practical policies do we put in place for job creation? And Honorable Collins Dauda couldn't have said it better. Mr. Speaker, there's a huge national security threat. Yesterday, I met a 70-year-old man, at Achimota Golf Course. And he said to me, Alex, you, the political leaders, can't you sit down and agree on the core national issues? Education, health. You cannot focus on these 2 and benefit from its positive effect in job creation and the private sector. Each one of you come in, you get your 4 years, and you are thinking of how to undo the other in terms of policy. Mr. Speaker, what has become of the National Development Planning Commission? 2 weeks ago, when I had the opportunity of addressing a gathering on centrism, it was one of the issues I addressed. The National Development Planning Commission is there and is toothless. We, the political leaders, have turned it into some partisan body. It is not supposed to be so. Our partisan manifesto must find expression in that national policy, and any political party must subscribe to that national policy. Mr. Speaker, that would mean having practical steps embedded in a policy for job creation. Mr. Speaker, The over 506,000 youths who bought the forms, who are graduates, Mr. Speaker, for security recruitment should be of worry to us. Establishing this university, Mr. Speaker, colleague, please, establishing this university would lead to education, educating our people, but would it lead to creating jobs? Mr. Speaker, let's go to Switzerland. Switzerland, as a country, Mr. Speaker, they have a policy which encourages apprenticeship. Mr. Speaker, I'm not against university education because we live in a fluid media environment. I'm very careful how I put this so that somebody will not go somewhere and say, Afenyo Makin or the minority are against establishing universities, or they don't want many Ghanaians to benefit from university education. No. But at the heart of the job creation, the job market is technical education, vocational training. There's nothing wrong with calling it engineering institution. But Mr. Speaker, there's a huge space where our youths lack technical education. We are investing in formal education, helping our children to earn white-collar job certificates. So he has a degree and he looks down on some apprenticeship that would have even created opportunity for him. I think the policy should be broader. And I'm happy the Minister of Education is here. We are making a huge mistake. We complain about Galamsey, but a lot of them are frustrated and they are there. It's a serious national security threat. This is not a period for partisanship. It's about our country, Ghana, and the policies that we implement and enact as a people. We've been elected to a privileged situation. The people have a high expectation. And the nature of the world of today, they know more than we think we know. We may be taken by surprise someday, maybe soon. And then when that someday comes, that someday will not know MPP or NDC, gentlemen and ladies. When that someday comes, there will be no distinction between MPP and NDC. So I am taking advantage of this opportunity to urge upon us. Once we create the opportunity for education, let us equally be serious about what will create the jobs, support for the private sector, opportunities for those who would want to go into industry, focusing on technical and vocational education, making apprenticeship attractive so that there will be equity, there will be balance. Somebody who has the knowledge will not necessarily say, I am going to university for a degree to become somebody in society, but somebody who goes to learn welding and learns it well and goes through a period of training will be proud of being a welder because his bread will be buttered as a welder. Rather than churning out a lot of graduates, degree holders, and they are in the system, and they will not want to go into any apprenticeship because he has a degree. Meanwhile, the opportunity is in technical training. Mr. Speaker, I would conclude by saying that in Ghana today, a lot of the youth who are well skilled in vocational training from Nigeria, from Togo, from Burkina, are the ones at all construction sites. So government will say, I've created, say, 500,000 jobs. But those jobs, are they jobs that Ghanaians are doing? No. Each one of us here, let's go to all the construction sites. You want a mason, Togolese. You want a carpenter, Nigerian. You want a steel bender, Togolese. Those who do POP, tile laying. Mr. Speaker, there's a huge job opportunity there. But because our people have not been trained in that area of skill, all of them are chasing masters, BSc, BA. That space has gone to others who are foreigners. And our people are now complaining. One day that they will say Choboy on us. we may not have anywhere to hide. So, Mr. Speaker, I conclude by urging upon the respected Minister of Education, who was once upon a time a leader of this House, to take this contribution from Honorable Collins Dauda and my good self on board and enact a policy out of these views aimed at addressing technical education. Mr. Speaker, the Minister of Education, Honorable Yao Educhum, as he then was, had taken steps in STEM education, and he took steps to equip over 48 vocational training institutions in Ghana. He started that project. Honorable Minister of Education, your steps are commendable, but I urge upon you to continue that part of technical and vocational education, make apprenticeship attractive, help a lot more of our children. Instead of chasing for white-colored certificate, they should also chase for their trade. In San Rejuma, they say it in France, in San Rejuma, they should choose trade so that, Mr. Speaker, when government is creating jobs in construction, our people will be there. You come to Winneba, almost all construction sites are being taken over by foreigners. They have trained, Togolese have invested in vocational and technical education. In Nigeria, a lot of investment in vocational and technical education. But we have invested heavily in white.
Government is broke, The people are spending billions to go inside the government that is broke. Have you ever seen a minister who resigned because government is broke before? Government has no money. Have you ever seen a governor who said, ladies and gentlemen, when I was elected, I thought the government had money. Now I discover government has no money, I resign. Have you ever seen it? Government has no money, but they are bringing money out at election time. Where is that money coming from? So they are lying. What is happening is that there are two types of wicked people in government. Type 1, they eat current money. Any money they find in government, they will eat it. They are wicked about that one. There is type 2. Type 2, they eat current money and future money. They will say, my term will end next year. When I leave, how will I eat money? Let me borrow money now and borrow money of the future and eat it now.
All right, good morning. Thank you very much for joining the show. This is Good Morning Ghana on a Metro Television. My name is Aldomo, and it's always a pleasure to come your way. It's a beautiful Wednesday morning, and this is the day the Lord has made. Indeed, we're glad in it. I want to say a big thanks to the Almighty God for making it possible for us to join you once again on the show called Good Morning Ghana. This is where Ghana listens to, because the quality of the conversation, it's top-notch. It's thought-provoking, it's intellectually stimulating, it's riveting, and it's passionate. It's about Ghana, isn't it? And that's why it's Good Morning Ghana. My name is Awudu Moro, and I say Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. That's how Muslims greet. We're supposed to be greeting. And so that's it. Anyway, so I'll go straight ahead and look at what the papers are reporting this morning, and I'll start with the Daily Graphic. Daily Graphic this morning is talking about SIM re-registration and the fact that it will be final. Some Georgia shows process to prioritize convenience kept fraud. Economy expands by 6% in 2025. Non-oil sector drives growth. At 3-day Agritech Fair, Mahama pushes for radical Agric reset. And the Daily Graphic is reminding its cherished readers that it will be absent from the newsstands from Friday, March 20 to Monday, March 23, 2026 due to the Eid festivities. So readers are encouraged to visit our online platform, graphic.com.gh, for all the latest news and thought-provoking articles during the period. Meanwhile, the Mirror will be on the newsstands tomorrow. We wish our Muslim brethren, our cherished readers, and the entire nation a happy Eid. Well, the Ghanaian Times this morning, it says that Nkonya Bumbula residents demand eviction of 8,000 cattle herdsmen. National Blood Service exceeds collection targets. Economy records 6% growth in 2025, driven by services sector. Enhancing Agric productivity, farmer service centers take off Saturday, first phase to cover 11 districts. Daily Guide says the 6 houses touched as Sampa chieftaincy violence displaces families. I mean, this Sampa chieftaincy problem has been with us for a long time. We need to get a grip of it. I don't know exactly what the problem is, but we need to get a grip of it. When the Parliament approves 2026 DACF distribution formula, Ghana slips in mining investment, and as NDC goons lock a Jesu Joabing NHIA manager's office. Oh la la, this matter. They should be arrested. I mean, we can't do the rule of man, it's the rule of law. Once they've broken the law, please do the needful. SkyTrain trial, lawyer grills NID staff officer. There's also the Insight newspaper says the media boss blows alarm over wasted agricultural assets in 5 regions. Whoa. Health Minister warns against unapproved admissions. There's Burkina Faso launches $64 billion 5-year national development plan. The CID opens fresh investigations into the disappearance of Tema West NDC constituent women's organizer. Inside the Visionary Youth Center development agenda of Nimate Jata or Brimpong the First. Close U.S. bases, Iran tells Gulf neighbors. The Informer. NDC man condemns Asedu Nketi over recruitment comments. There's 24-hour economy, incentivize private sector for effectiveness, government told. Come phase justice. Kojo Yanka tells Uforiata, let's make ADR work. Chief Justice urges stakeholder. Eid Fitr, MTN donates 200,000 cedis to Chief Imam. The Inquisitor says for being prudent at Finance Ministry, Dr. Forsen targeted for mudslinging. Sanction against Magdana Vishing is disgraceful, according to Kujo. Happy Eid to all Muslims, Dr. Prempe. The sound forex management protects citizens from fuel price shocks, according to MPA CEO. The Herald this morning says 85 million cities customs tax evasion probes suggest widespread abuse. Deputy Chief of Staff dodges questions on 11.9 million cities gold board contract. Taunts MPP over election laws instead. New biometric SIM registration to prioritize consumer protection, according to Sam George. Mahama unveils independent commission to tackle pay inequities. And there's 122.8 million cities duplicated claims under NITIWU uncovered. Metro Lens, Tema plane crash claims the only sons of Hebron. Prayer center leader. 6 houses torched in Sampa. Chieftaincy dispute escalates. Families displaced. NHIA, Akachi Market Deba boost. Dr. Mampo's drive to grow NHIA's database. Achemansa DC intensifies Galamsey fight. 300 Chanfang machines, 105 boats seized, 50 arrested. The Ghanaian publisher says the minority slums repackaged land reforms. Ashanti cocoa farmers speak out, bring back our money. Hassan Sobuachi calls for highway master plan. The students stranded in UK as government fails to pay tuition. The custodian says you can't register your side chick as pension beneficiary. SNIT GM. No cocoa price cuts even during COVID-19. Cocoa farmers praise Akufo-Addo. Prudential Bank supports prison services Think Prisons 360 initiative. Equip youth with skills or face job crisis. World Bank chief warns Ghana. SIM registration. So now with a Daily Post. SIM registration, re-registration will make Momo fraud an expensive venture. That's according to Sam George. And there's Lordina Foundation treats retired pastors' spouses to sixth free health screening. Finance Minister confirms start of public sector recruitment despite high wage bill. Ghana's economy expands by 6.0% in 2025 for strong 5.8% growth in final quarter. And then let me look at this one. That's the Accra Times this morning is reporting Gold Board engages GGSA to provide reliable geological data to support the establishment of model mines across Ghana. UNIMAC is unique, Vice Chancellor takes pride. There's Gold War sets record straight, rubbishes allegations. There's Mida CEO raises alarm over wasted agricultural assets. The Daily Searchlight, and here I want to say good morning to Ken Crunchy. It's been a while. Sumper bans over chieftaincy, one person dead, several injured. There's also MMTL kicks against illegal construction on Opera Square bus terminal. There's also GJA to hold annual general meeting on March 31. There's a SEMPOA urges government to abolish fees for security services recruitment. And there's also Food for All Africa Services 900 meals on World School Feeding Day. The Business and Financial Times. Media CEO raises alarm over wasted agricultural assets. There's also Standard Chartered celebrates 130 years of legacy leadership and lasting impact. Reaffirms commitment to future fit banking while advancing sustainable progress for clients and communities. There's World Bank task private sector to co-design future workforce. Let me now go online and check out what the online portals are reporting. So, My Joe Online says CAF declare Morocco AFCON 2025 winners with final results overturned. Incredible decision. Fuel relief talks likely if crude hits $120. NPA boss Eduzi Tamaklo. Finance Minister confirms the start of public sector recruitment despite high wage bill. Fuel price crisis may trigger presidential intervention. NPA boss. We're still studying the market. NPA on rising fuel costs. Mahama, let me now go to City Newsroom. Sorry about that. So City Newsroom says, Mahama, I won't pretend our own people are involved in Galamsey. Ghana's public debt drops to 641 billion cedis in 2025. BOG. There's MPLs, that's non-performing loans, a rise to 8.7% in February despite year-on-year improvement. Government also begins recruitment to public sector. Mahama to expand consultations to CSOs for policy input, according to Kwachi Ofosu. MetroTVOnline.com says Ghana-UK relations shifting to partnership, not dependence. High Commissioner has been talking. That's Sabah Zeta Benson. We'll kill you, Bakavomawo alleges threats, accuses NDC appointees of hypocrisy. And the Senegal to appeal unjust AFCON ruling. There's Man City suffer Champions League exit to Real Madrid. There's also Chelsea crushed 3-0 by PSG, suffer Champions League exit as well. So Ghana Web this morning is reporting that children of a popular pastor identified as victims of the tragic Tema helicopter crash. Yeah, tragic indeed. And also it says watch heated moment. Mercy Siedu other straight words with Bishop Ufuridu. There's beyond the headlines how cocoa marketing actually works in Ghana. There's Goil and Star Oil reduce fuel prices amid rising competition. There's Senegal response to CAF over 2025 AFCON win nullification. All right, so that's it for the newspaper and the online portal review. But it's time for Community Watch, isn't it? All right, so today on Community Watch, we have issues of perennial water challenge. The fact that is becoming, it's being solved or gets solved in the Ningo from enclave. So Community Watch is not essentially about just telling us what your challenges are, but if a problem has also been resolved or has been addressed or has been fixed, also let us know, especially when the problem has been there for a long time and our duty bearers have failed to address it. If it's addressed us, we'll take a video. We'll send you a WhatsApp or the WhatsApp number either today or tomorrow, so you can send us those videos so we can tell the whole world what's happening in your community. It's important today. All right, so that's it. Yes, that's clean, potable water is flowing through their taps. Hooray! Oh la la! Well, that's wonderful. Water is basic, isn't it? I'm still on my one-man advocacy to get the Tamale water crisis resolved, fixed. Yes. And my producers just told me that we'll be going to Tamale to find out what the situation there. That's a Community Watch, isn't it? We're bringing to you some of the problems that perhaps our duty bearers are not seeing. Our big men or authorities or our leaders are not seeing. We'll bring it to their attention, and the whole idea is to get them to solve it, not just for them to see it or hear about it, but to fix it. That's the thing. Media must get results, and so we'll ensure that when we bring up the issue, we get the issues resolved as well. So that's our Community Watch for today from Ningo Pram Pram. My name is Aldo Moro. Stay with us.
Tanumo onunchoni ha o dama Chele wekun Wanyanu chumo Osole moji ake Uba nani Aya Baba shushu. Amen.
Start your kids' day the right way, filled with confidence to take on any challenge. Pepsodent Kids contains the right amount of fluoride and sugar acid protection to care for their developing gums and teeth. Grab either orange or strawberry so they brush with the sweet flavor they love morning and evening. Pepsodent Kids, giving your children a bright smile for a brighter future.
March is Colorectal Cancer Awareness Month.
Have you attained 45 years and older? Notice blood in your stool, a family history of cancer? Then don't wait to have a colonoscopy. Early detection of cancer and effective treatment save lives.
There are weak points in the development and spread of cancers of the large bowel that will have control over to stop, to reduce the incidence and deaths from these cancers. Achieving this success depends on you and me. We are fully prepared. What about you?
Visit Mintuba Hospital and Coloproctology Center today or call us. Mintuba Hospital, First Ghana Colorectal Center, in to serve a peculiar health need.
Finding the ideal property shouldn't be a daunting task. At MNC Properties, we believe everyone deserves a place to call home. That's why we specialize in providing affordable housing options under our flagship project, Fresh Property Joy, specifically designed for low and medium income earners. Our range of customizable homes includes 2 and 3 bedroom standard and executive options, all meticulously crafted using innovative interlocking brick technology. We understand the importance of simplicity and convenience in the acquisition process. That's why we have designed our procedures to be straightforward and hassle-free, offering flexible payment options tailored to your individual needs. In addition to our affordable homes, we proudly offer litigation-free lands for sale in vibrant and upscale communities that present the perfect opportunity to build your dream home. We are committed to making affordable housing a reality, providing you with the joy of owning a home that meets your budgets and aspirations. Whether you're looking to buy, rent, or invest, we've got you covered. Our service team is ready to assist you on 030-255-1917. MNC Properties, choice of class.
Brush, 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 brush your teeth. Brush, 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 2 times a day. Brush with Kel-Kit.
Hello, my friends. My name is Kel-Kit's toothpaste.
Wow.
I was made to be gentle on your gum, but protected. I will protect your teeth from cavity, make your teeth whiter, stronger, keep your mouth fresh all day. And best of all, I'm strawberry flavored. So put on a smile and try me.
That's amazing.
Just try me. That's my job.
If you say so, jump on my brush. Makes your teeth stronger, chicky chicky whiter, chicky chicky stronger. Yay! You did it!
I'm glad you like your new toothpaste. Don't forget to brush both day and night.
Kel-Kit's, happy smile.
Yes, next. Hey, Nadia Benson, Asamo.
Me didn't tum. Mr. Freddy Calico, just call me cockroach. Now, Mr. Freddy once now.
Hey, that's on you. Improve car. Yeah. Captain, mosquito, double the action. Me did Sasso spray. Mr. Freddy Sasso quell. Yeah, go to my Sasa, Tom Preko.
Hey, Unia, new release in Yana. Kaya gum.
A bitino was me new release. Me can no access fitemu hono. And na Geopolitical Garages Limited. Akwafa besiesi amana aye nitia. Obiase e car mu no.
Accident car no na. Geopolitical Garages Limited. Amana say gina ne naso sa no.
Mesi wo. Wo mo akwafa broni fita engineer efra brochiraba. And wo check cars no. Na wo hunu ba bia fault krowo. And ho spare parts so wo de hyehyɛ. Afenesi road. And so ho charges kakra bi o.
Geopolitical Garages Limited.
Wo ye general servicing. Ebili engine overhauling, engine tuning, oven spraying, general electrical works, air condition installation work, BM, upholstery, gearbox, make a day.
Geopolitical Garages Limited.
Apart from sir, car that wotimi ato, and now Toma wono, was sign importation of cars, and it was spare parts, if Rabutreba, Wokoto Kamawa, and free.
Ace, also what you call
Geopolitical Garages Limited, and La Paz Malam Road, after Bayard traffic light, wah. Bibiania for 0206 48 17 and 3, and now 0542 96 1111. Website geopoliticalghana.com.
Geopolitical Garages Limited.
Hey, Kaya will be a Benyani.
Geopolitical Garages Limited.
Your car beauty and the power boosters.
In my line of work, a confident smile is everything. Kel Charcoal toothpaste keeps me on top of my game and ensures my smile is always radiant and bright.
With the tiring nature of my job, we spend several hours under the scorching sun. To keep our teeth white and our breath fresh all the time, we use none other than Kel Charcoal toothpaste. Kel Charcoal toothpaste. You're on a kessie and in a kit one.
Samayo kendini, who be here, Semetra Sapapadia to Amame Manfo, Kel Charcoal's natural ingredients, and a bomb is so by, a man is swing, and a sansu mama hoto so a will beg you.
Kel Charcoal toothpaste. Choose Kel Charcoal toothpaste for anti-cavity, whiter teeth, and fresher breath all day. Available in 80 gram and 150 gram. Grab yours today.
Kel, happy smile. This advert is FDA approved.
When nations rise, it begins with bold conversations. When economies grow, it is driven by partnership. This April, Ghana's business and policy leaders converge at the Business Forum 2026, the nation's premier platform for investment, enterprise, and economic transformation, with special guest of honor, His Excellency President John Dramani Mahama, joining captains of industry, financial institutions, investors, and entrepreneurs.
The Business Forum is more than just an event. It is a call to action. And so let us work together to build a Ghana that is competitive, productive, and inclusive, and a Ghana that creates opportunities for all.
Come, let's engage in high-level dialogue, explore industry exhibitions, build powerful networks, and unlock real opportunities from finance and insurance to manufacturing, agribusiness, SMEs, and innovation. This is where it all happens. From the 3rd to the 5th of April 2026 at the Kwo Convention Center in Praeso Hills. Go to www.kwobusinessforum.com and register now. To register for exhibitions, call 059 555 5885 or 059 555 5995. Kwo Business Forum. Connect, promote, grow.
All right, you're watching Good Morning Ghana on Metro Television, and my guests are here, and you can see we have been wishing a number of people happy birthday, and I have a personal one that I want to do today. And a happy birthday to you, Eric Jitu Kwashi. You're 76 years old today. He's a wonderful man. He's a fantastic man. That's actually my landlord. Yes, oh, wow. Yes, that's my landlord. He's a big man. Eric Jitu Kwashi. Happy 76th birthday. What can I say? I can only wish you the best in life. I mean, 76 is quite, it's a wonderful milestone, and celebrating 76 years of life, this comes with a lot of wisdom and memories. And so I can only wish you a happy birthday. You're a fantastic man, you're a wonderful person, and it is my hope and prayer that you keep going. Yes, keep going. When you see him, he doesn't look 76. So. Oh, the man can walk from here to cycle. Very strong. You know, he's cast in the mode of Uncle Kwesi. You don't see the age. No, you don't see the age.
Uncle see the age. He's rather growing younger.
Blessings.
He has to show us the way.
You know, usually when I ask him what's the trick, he said, "What's that?" He said, "Don't be deceived by the body."
The effect is in the inside.
I'm telling you, because you know about the body, for the engine, you know. Yeah. You know, but we would all pray that we can get to his age and look the way he does, even if the engine is not that strong.
Oh, he's strong.
He's strong. Look, the man walks when he's walking up the stairs. He walks up the stairs as if he's 20 years. You know. Anyway, so happy 76th birthday to the most amazing person I've known. May this special day bring you comfort, joy, and the recognition that you so greatly deserve. Eric Jitu Kwashi, happy birthday. And also from your wife, Adrina Kwashi, she admires you so much. She loves you so very much. She adores you, and she wants you to know that you are in this together. Whether through tough times and good times, she will always be there for you. And also from the children, most of whom are abroad, happy birthday to you, Mr. Eric Jitu Kwashi. You're a big man. So do something small so that we can also attend. And also to all of you, all other birthday celebrants today, happy birthday to you. But I'll tell you something. One of my guests is not celebrating his birthday, but he's celebrating his marriage anniversary. 20 years. You know, we joke. He's here with us this morning. Yes, that's him. In fact, the camera took shots of him earlier. That's our way of saying that Sandazua. Yes, that's the man. Isaac Boama Nyako. He's MP for Ifia, and also he's a tax person, he's a lawyer, and he's a man of many parts. So let me not bother you with all the things that he has in his certificates. But today, sorry? Oh, okay, I see. I didn't know that. My producer has just told me something. I don't know whether I should say it publicly.
What did he say?
I don't know whether I have his permission. Bright, should I say it? I shouldn't. You are here. Anyway, but congratulations.
Thank you, William.
Happy 20th marriage anniversary. Wow.
Thank you very much.
We'll celebrate you small time. But let me just say that Kwesi is also here. Mr. Kwesi Pratt Jr. is a former managing editor of the Insight newspaper. He's a veteran journalist and very seasoned. Yeah. And he doesn't like us when we call him an elderly statesman. But this one, we're not seeking his permission. Will they give up? We'll give up. Yes, an elderly statesman. Yes. Uncle Kwesi, good morning.
Good morning.
Always good to see you, boss. Yeah, good morning. Thank you very much for making time. His dedication, his commitment, and loyalty to the show. Incredible. Absolutely unbelievable. I mean, we can't thank him enough. You know, they started the show.
Yes.
They started it, conceptualized it, and you know, he's been on for 24 years. 24 years consistently. Of course, once in a while, duty calls, whether within or outside, then he has to miss it. But once he's in town, he doesn't miss it. You know, I mean, we cherish him. We adore him. And we can't thank you. So please join us, thank you.
Kwesi, thank you. Yes. Thank you for being always present on the show. We've all watched you many years ago. We never believed one day we will share the same platform with you, and it's such a privilege and honor to share. And the depth of your contribution and understanding global issues, Ghana matters, and still trying to say it as it is, you know, even if it goes against areas where you ordinarily would have been sympathetic to, you know. So I think you bring a lot to the table. You've learned a lot from you.
I mean, look, from archaeology to zoology, just raise the butter. He'll give you history. I don't know how he does it. You know, I have never seen Mr. Kwesi Pratt read from some book or something. No, never. Whether it's at a public forum, whether radio, TV, everything there for here.
But what surprises me is anytime I come on this show, he's reading the newspaper and he's taking some notes. And I wonder whether he's going to discuss the matter. He had some more talking about the
I've asked you before, and it has nothing to do with the show.
Exactly. So today I said after the show, I will take the paper and find out exactly what he's been writing and how he picks those, and he picks them from very strange newspapers.
He will tell you.
Graphic,
he will tell you how he does it, but he will tell you how he does it. But let's do this. I mean, 20 years. Actually, how has the journey been? I'm going to show me when it's 20 years. I want to talk to him. I want to discuss his 20 years marriage thing, and then I'll come back to you just briefly. But 20 years, how has it been? How have you been able to do it?
Good morning to you and Agric and our cherished viewers and the good people of Ifia.
Okay.
And also wishing them back at the Salah. Hopefully, by the close of this week, they would have finished the fasting and then go back to celebrate the faithfulness of Allah over the past 1 month of prayers. Moro, 20 years ago, I believe I was then about 26 years, having completed university and started work with the VAT service. 3 years down the employment of GRA, I just took the decision that, hey, I need to find a woman and then and start life with, because because I had learned growing up that the thing, they are over, so try over so I had dated Harriet for about 4 years before. We've known each other almost about 10 years before we dated. And so I thought it was in line to settle on her. But by the time we were settling, Chalimuru, we had nothing. We started from zero. In fact, I'll say from deficit, because at that time, she was more resourceful from home than I do. I was resourceful earlier by my parents, but my dad lost his timber business. At that time, the timber industry had started undergoing crisis.
Okay.
So we had gone into very serious downturn as a family. And then she and the family were doing well. And so entering into that family, the support the parents gave at the time, and then herself agreeing to even marry me when I had nothing bringing onto the table, I believe was the biggest risk. The biggest risk she could ever take. And I always try to find out exactly what motivated her to settle on me as a young and budding individual. But looking back 20 years down the line, I think the Lord has been very faithful to us. The Lord has been good. It's been just by grace and believing God one step at a time, and having faith in Him and taking the opportunities as they come. I took studies very seriously, took the job opportunities I had very seriously. And I believe that this is how far the Lord has brought us. So wherever she is, Harriet, she used to be called Mensa, Harriet Mamansa Mensa, but I changed the name completely to Boamanyako 20 years ago. We're still doing well. We've been blessed with 4 children, 4 girls, and they are all doing very well. And so we trust in God that the next 20 years, God will look upon us with more favor and grace. It's not been easy. It always as it falls, you know. And I tell up and coming couples that if you see us talk about it, if you see 20 years of celebration, it may be over 60 falling. You know, you fall, you go back, you discuss it, you pick the pieces, and then you take it from there. It's never been rosy. And so we want to encourage everybody that it's good to be married, it's good to start a family, because that is the doing of God. God created marriage for us, and so we have to fulfill it, but we have to be committed, have a lot of patience. You should have a very big heart, both the women and ourselves, so that at the end of the day, we can just build a beautiful home that our children will be proud of. Like, I believe Anki Kwesi has done in excess of 40 years to 50 years, you know, and so if they've been able to do it, we should tell the generations coming that it is possible in our dispensation to marry and sustain the marriage, and not to think that now you marry 1 year down the line and everybody is in a hurry to divorce. But it's still good for you to fight and keep your marriage, and then let's see what the Lord can do.
I'm wondering whether in the next 20, 30 years we'll have that many people celebrate their 10th anniversary, because these days marriages easily hit the rocks. I don't know what's changed. Unlike in you know, Uncle Kwesi's days, you know, and perhaps the years, you know, after that, 10, 20 years, you know, 10, 20, 30 years after their generation, they've been able to keep their marriages, you know, and for many years. But this generation, I don't know, there's a real struggle. And again, to even find somebody who would be prepared to marry you, you know, when you have nothing, it's tough. It's tough. Okay,
no. Just to say congratulations to the Honorable Member of Parliament and his wife.
All right. Thank you.
20 years is interesting. Point is that no two marriages are the same.
Right.
Every marriage is different. It depends on what you expect out of it and what you put into it. You know, I'm not so sure that I can agree with Honorable that marriage is the creation of God. You know, some of these statements put God in a very bad light.
Why?
You know, some of the marriages I know, if they were creations of God, then God should have a problem. Then he's not as perfect as those who believe in him would want us to accept. You know, but that's by the way.
Yeah.
I mean, earlier on, you made the comment about me writing and so on. Yes, I write a lot. And that is precisely because life is very short.
True.
Life is very, very short. I've come to learn that life is very short. So whatever few minutes and seconds we get, we ought to utilize it to the full. So in between my contributions, I write newspaper articles. I write things for posting on my X page and so on. So today, for example, I'm writing things that will be posted on my X page.
Okay.
You know, and it's just because, yeah, I don't want to waste the time in between the contributions, and so I don't want to waste the time.
So once the thoughts come to you, you put it on paper.
Yeah, I mean, once something strikes me, you know, especially when I read the newspapers. And this morning I'm reading the newspapers, and I'm finding some fascinating comments from Donald Trump.
Yes.
Unbelievable comments on Donald Trump. You know, Zelensky has been offering the U.S. and Israel help.
Yes.
He wants to produce drones for them and so on. And now Trump is saying that they don't need his help. He's the last person in the world whose help they will take. What is Donald Trump's, what influences this position by Donald Trump? Donald Trump is saying that he's not trustworthy.
Yeah.
According to Donald Trump, Zelensky is not ready to make a deal. It's become so difficult, and that when he compares Zelensky to Putin, Putin is much, much ready to make a deal. And is this not interesting?
Very ironic.
So interesting. I mean, given the fact that at the beginning of this
Russia-Ukraine war,
all of the West was united behind Zelensky.
That's true.
Now the cracks are showing.
But the cracks started showing when Zelensky paid him a visit at the White House.
Yeah. Well, even before the cracks have started showing.
Yeah. Right.
And the cracks have started showing because some of the members of the European Union actually felt that they were making too many sacrifices which were not worthy, for Ukraine. They had put their economies on the line. I mean, look, the last time I checked, Britain is running an inflation rate of 30%.
Yeah.
The British economy is in deep crisis. German economy was doing so well. Within the last 5 years, the German economy is taking a dip. France is in political and economic crisis and so on. So a lot of the people are saying, why do we spend so much, billions of euros and so on, supporting Zelensky and Ukraine, especially given the fact that this war could have been averted if NATO had been sensible.
Yeah.
If they had not gone threatening that we were going to put missiles in Ukraine, which could hit Moscow in 3 minutes, there would have been no war. You understand? If they had just stopped threatening Russia, there would have been no war.
True.
So to a very large extent, they instigated this war. Now their economies are suffering very, very seriously. The sanctions against Russia have not worked. And indeed, the aggression against Iran has made Russia the beneficiary. Russia's economy is booming. I mean, now they are even lifting sanctions on the sale of Russian oil.
Yeah, they have.
The US. So,
in fact, they're making $150 million a day.
You have the Hungarian president actually disagreeing with the EU and insisting that the sanctions should be lifted. And so the whole of the West has plunged itself into a needless crisis when they could have just spoken, negotiated, when they could have given assurances to Russia that Russia would not be attacked. How is it so difficult to assure Russia that we won't attack you, or we will not place weapons in Ukraine which can hit your capital in 3 minutes and so on? Very simple. And yet we've allowed this to drag us into a war which has lasted 4 years.
4 years, yeah.
Look at the destruction that Ukraine has suffered. Yeah. In the final analysis, they've gone back to the negotiating table, and it is clear that Ukraine is going to make concessions about land.
The Donbass region.
Yeah, the Donbass region is going to go. So why did you fight? Why did you fight for 4 years when you are going to make finally the concessions? The reality is, if Russia is able to take over the port, the Donetsk port, Ukraine will become a landlocked country, and its economy will collapse.
That's true. Absolutely.
And if the war continues, it is most likely that Russia will take
it by force.
Will take it by force. Yeah. So this whole thing doesn't make sense. I mean, sometimes I sit back and I'm wondering how all these
played out.
Big names in international politics, leaders, Starmer, British Prime Minister, German Chancellor, French President, and so on, how they are unable to think. It's surprising. These are heavyweights. They can't think. And they are plunging the world into one crisis after the other. And innocent people suffer.
Yeah.
I can't believe it.
Yeah, so
that's true.
And you see, okay, just a little on this Ukraine, Russia, and its geopolitical effect on global politics. I believe Europe, when they reflect on the state of this war, they will concede that they made some big mistakes along the way. They
miscalculated.
Yeah, they really did. And particularly when you have Russia having this thinking over a long period of time, they planned this out in case of those threats, how they were going to position themselves. So if you look at the way Putin had pitched with China, India, and all of that, to including even Iran, to make sure that when Europe hits them with those sanctions, they would have alternatives to. And you know, when you talk about China, you're talking about bigger than even Europe in terms of population and resource and other matters. So it's been very difficult for and worsening it is this issue of the Israel-American war. And now look at the commentary that emanates from US to NATO. You ask US ask NATO for support one breath, and another breath you tell them you don't need them again. And the entire NATO is even in crisis. You know, I am looking forward to how they are going to mend their ways with Donald Trump still leading the charge in America. I think they are only waiting for American next elections to get Donald Trump off the way to see how they can mend their cracks. But it doesn't look good for Ukraine as we speak, because see, the longer this war drags, the better it is for Russia, because they have the capacity, they have the resources, they have the ammunitions to combat this for a long period of time. And it's all about your ability to go the long haul. If you don't have that capacity, you break. And Ukraine seems to be breaking the moment America withdraws its support. And when you look at the way Donald Trump is speaking, it means that if they are not careful after the Iran invasion, they may have further difficulties with his support for Ukraine, and that would give Europe a very bad position to find themselves.
True.
You see, Honorable, I mean, what you say is true. I mean, nobody can contest what you have just said. But I want to put it in a wider perspective.
Right.
The world order as we know it today is crumbling. You know, it's completely crumbling. Look, now you have a situation where there's no doubt at all about the fact that Donald Trump is interested in regime change in Britain, in France, and Germany.
True.
He's actually sending his envoys to these countries to openly declare support for the far right.
Yeah.
So you have a situation where America, the leading state in NATO, is subverting governments in NATO. That's crumbling of the world order.
Right.
You understand? Beyond the support for the far right in the three countries, beyond the support for the far right in the three countries, it is also quite obvious that Donald Trump's agenda clashes very seriously with the agenda of the NATO members. To the extent that Canada has actually threatened that it is ready to go to war with the US. When the Canadian Prime Minister says that they are ready to apply Chapter 5 of the NATO agreement, what does that mean?
Declaration of war.
It's a declaration of war.
Simplicity.
You understand? And this must be worrying to all of us. You have a situation where Donald Trump insists on taking Greenland. All the other NATO members come together against him. That's a huge crack in the NATO alliance. Okay? Look at the war which is currently raging in the Middle East, in West Asia. Look at the war.
No engagement with NATO.
It didn't start. NATO was not informed. Donald Trump and Netanyahu did their thing. Now, Donald Trump is calling for the assistance of NATO member states. And they said, to hell with you, we are not coming. We won't give you the assistance. You understand? And then he goes on to make very, very insulting remarks about leaders of the NATO alliance. You know, I mean, I was completely shocked when I heard the comments that he had made about the leaders of Spain. I mean, incredible. Donald Trump wants to use U.S. military bases in Spain for the attack on Iran. And Spain says, no, we will not allow you to do that. It is not in our interest so to do. Donald Trump's reaction is that, look, we don't need your permission. We will use our basis anyway. Whether you approve or you don't approve, we'll come and use the basis. You can go to hell. Then he says, and excuse my language, I mean, this is Donald Trump's language, that the people of Spain are very nice, intelligent people, but their leaders are stupid. This is Donald Trump. You understand?
Yesterday, did you hear what he said about the UK? About he's been supporting them, and it's basically as if to say he takes care of the UK.
But that is not even true. Because the UK assisted the United States in this war in Afghanistan.
You know, and he came back and told them that even they were not forthright with their support.
Yeah.
I mean, he spoke to the UK as if the UK were his child. That if you're not prepared to do what I want, then we'll see how that goes.
No, but I think that is why the position of Europe has changed. You know, to call off his bluff.
But Moro, let's look at it from the very beginning. Donald Trump takes office, and one of the first declarations he makes is that he wants the Panama Canal.
Yes.
Whether they like it or not, he will take the Panama Canal. That issue is not quite resolved.
Yes.
You know. And then he turns around and says,
he wants Greenland.
I want to take Canada as the 52nd state of the United States of America.
Yes.
Can you believe it? Okay? It doesn't end there. Then he says he wants to take over Greenland. That he's ready to pay for it. Yeah. But if they would not accept payment,
he'll take it anyway.
He will take it by force. My brother, it doesn't end there. Then he goes to Caracas, captures Nicolas Maduro, takes him to New York on some flimsy charges, and then makes a public declaration that Venezuelan oil belongs to the U.S.
Yes.
And tells all the multinational corporations which want to do deals on Venezuelan oil not to go to Caracas, but to come to him. I mean, incredible. You know, it doesn't end there. Then he dreams up this conflict between Christians and Muslims in Nigeria. And then he goes to bomb Nigeria.
Now, Okujeto said he supported him.
Well, that's another
we'll get there. Big matter.
But it doesn't end there. Then Donald Trump is sitting down one day and then he says to himself, Cuba, this beautiful island of 11 million people, who should become the president of Cuba? And he says, well, Marco Rubio, his foreign minister, will be the best president of Cuba. I mean, what is happening? My brother, what is happening? He sits down in his dream. He says,
but that has been him from day one.
Yes, obviously, that's Donald
when he created his Truth Social, the things he posted there are completely at variance with even his own party, the GOP, and they couldn't do anything about it. He went and unseated senators and governors.
That's quintessential.
So that has been typically him in America, extending it now to the
whole world.
Yeah.
I mean, including the United States, Germany, and so on, France.
Yes.
Under the auspices of the UN, negotiate a nuclear deal.
Yeah.
Grants the International Atomic Energy Agency the right for inspections and so on. So we are sure that under these arrangements, Iran can never produce a nuclear weapon.
True.
Everybody is happy. The world is moving on. You understand? Then Donald Trump comes to office and he says, no, I disagree with Barack Obama. You shouldn't have signed this deal. He cancels the deal. Okay? Iran then says, well, if the deal is cancelled, then fine.
We can continue with
that. And so on. Then, only 2 weeks ago, he now decides to go.
But even before then, when he supported Israel to bomb them 3 months earlier.
I'm coming to that.
It was to disable them.
He decides to go and bomb Iran.
Yeah.
What is the reason? That Iran has the capacity to produce a nuclear weapon
in
a matter of days or weeks. And I heard him yesterday repeating that. You understand?
Yeah.
When he had told us 3 months earlier
that he has obliterated.
He didn't say
destroyed, obliterated
Iran's capacity to develop a nuclear weapon.
Yes, 3 months ago. 3 months ago.
You know what? Let's take a break.
We are laughing, but it's
a very serious matter. Okay, let's take a break.
You have somebody who has his fingers on a nuclear button, thinking like this and behaving like this.
No.
It's frightening.
Nothing is wrong with him. Nothing is wrong with him. Okay, so don't do that. We'll take a short break. We'll come back. Would take a flight? We'll catch a flight to United States of America and then maybe to Iran and to Israel, figuratively, I beg you, and then would continue the conversation because he has impact on what's happening in Ghana. Fuel prices have gone up, as you do know. We'll have that conversation as well. And the Chief Executive Officer of the DMP has been telling us why fuel prices have not shot through the roof as it would have in the past because of the fundamentals today. You know, I'm sure it sounds familiar, doesn't it? Fundamentals. The fundamentals are better today, and that's why we're not paying as high as we should have. Because fuel prices, I think are still hovering around $100 and a bit. So please stay with us. This is Good Morning Ghana on Metro Television.
Hello, my friends. My name is Kids Toothpaste.
Wow.
I was made to be gentle on your gum, but protected. I will protect your teeth from cavity, make your teeth whiter, stronger, keep your mouth fresh all day. And best of all, I'm strawberry flavored. So put on a smile and try me.
That's amazing.
Just try me. That's my job.
If you say so, jump on my brush. Makes your teeth stronger, chicky whiter, chicky stronger. Yay! You did it!
I'm glad you like your new toothpaste. Don't forget to brush both day and night.
Kids, happy smile.
The Ghana Exim Bank is 10 years old. Hooray! And to commemorate this milestone, the Ghana Exim Bank is hosting a 2-day international conference on the theme, A Decade of Enabling Export Trade and Industrial Transformation, Resetting GEXIM for the Next Frontier. The event takes place on the 25th to 26th of March at the Kempinski Hotel, Gold Coast City, 8 a.m. each day. President of the Republic, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, will perform the official opening of the conference. Special guest and speaker, Honorable Elizabeth Ofoswejari, Minister for Trade, Agribusiness and Industry. Conference host is Honorable Sylvester Adina Mensah, Chief Executive of the Ghana Exim Bank. For inquiries, call 0208-541-480 or visit eximbankghana.com/conference to register. Media partners, Daily Graphic, Media General, The Multimedia Group, City FM, Radio Gold and Channel 1 TV. And knowledge partners include IFC and SME Finance Forum.
Finding the ideal property shouldn't be a daunting task. At MNC Properties, we believe everyone deserves a place to call home. That's why we specialize in providing affordable housing options under our flagship project, Fresh Property Joy. Specifically designed for low and medium income earners. Our range of customizable homes includes 2 and 3 bedroom standard and executive options, all meticulously crafted using innovative interlocking brick technology. We understand the importance of simplicity and convenience in the acquisition process. That's why we have designed our procedures to be straightforward and hassle-free, offering flexible payment options tailored to your individual needs. In addition to our affordable homes, we proudly offer litigation-free lands for sale in vibrant and upscale communities that present the perfect opportunity to build your dream home. We are committed to making affordable housing a reality, providing you with the joy of owning a home that meets your budgets and aspirations. Whether you're looking to buy, rent, or invest, we've got you covered. Our service team is ready to assist you on 030-255-1917. MNC Properties, choice of class.
Hey buddy, it's me Azar.
Hey, me now they see. Hey, you don't look fresh.
Hey.
With your label today.
Wait till you see what's inside me.
Azar, freshly made inside and out for greater coverage and colors that last longer and beautify your walls, spaces and places. Azar, no size. Go ahead. Buy now. Azar, #1 from Azar Group since 1921.
Wabedum time aso. Hey, Jay. Watch it, na learning. Missy, watch and learn. Mekwaya ma besisia. Abozege. Akache say no ya konate and the more drink woman. Hey. But I didn't mean. Oh, sorry. She knew her old days. Eji, Dabio, baby wom. Ready? Hey, baby wom. Ah, Eji. I'll cause some discomfort. Sorry, what uncle, where would the dad? Why your funeral?
Say a pessary insecticide GB at a user. Co pharmacy in a shop biamu. Na mum say a pharmacy supermarket and a shop ra. Na repedudu to a cotonwa. On for Royal Dutch and our Aerofield Trading. Efi spray with daimwa. Chansima a dronu. Ansana a radine. Inkratui FDA ajatum.
When nations rise, it begins with bold conversations. When economies grow, it is driven by partnership. This April, Ghana's business and policy leaders converge at the Pro Business Forum 2026, the nation's premier platform for investment, enterprise, and economic transformation, with special guest of honor, His Excellency President John Dramani Mahama, joining captains of industry, financial institutions, investors, and entrepreneurs.
The Pro Business Forum is more than just an event. It is a call to action. And so let us work together to build a Ghana that is competitive, productive, and inclusive, and a Ghana that creates opportunities for all.
Come, let's engage in high-level dialogue, explore industry exhibitions, build powerful networks, and unlock real opportunities from finance and insurance to manufacturing, agribusiness, SMEs, and innovation. This is where it all happens. From the 3rd to the 5th of April 2026 at the Kwewu Convention Center in Prioso Hills. Go to www.kwewubusinessforum.com and register now. To register for exhibitions, call 059 555 5885 or 059 555 5995. Kwewu Business Forum. Connect, promote, grow.
All right, so watching Good Morning Ghana on the Metro Television. Thank you very much for staying with us. My name is Awudu Moro, and I'm here with Mr. Kwesi Pratt Jr., who's a former managing editor of the Insight newspaper. He's a veteran, seasoned journalist as well. Also with us here is the Member of Parliament for the Efia constituency, the Honourable Member of Parliament for the Efia constituency, and also a private legal practitioner, Mr. Isaac Boabanyaku, who is celebrating his 20th marriage anniversary today. Hooray! Congratulations to him. 20 years is such a milestone, and we pray to God to let us live and see the next 20 years at least, so we can come back here and celebrate him again. And that's it. That's been his dream and his aspiration and his wish, and we can only support him with our prayer and our well wishes. So once again to you, happy anniversary. Do you intend to through any a small get together to celebrate the day? Okay.
This one, we're going back to the two we started.
Oh, okay.
So just the two of us.
Okay. Honeymoon? Or second honeymoon?
The second honeymoon.
Second honeymoon. Outside or within?
I'll tell you after the
show. We'll patronize domestic tourism, kakra. You know, we're promoting. Uncle C. Pratt and I, we've been promoting domestic tourism. You know, yeah, there's a lot to see in Ghana. There's a lot to see in Ghana.
What is the recommendation?
Oh, no. Let me take. We'll talk about Aqua Safari. Okay, I didn't want to mention Aqua Safari because I'll be giving them free promo. Aqua Safari, come and promote your.
I was
your
on the
business
15th anniversary.
Yes. Okay. All right. So obviously, still on the Middle East crisis. Yes. Sorry, I had to interrupt you at some point because I had to take a break. Yes, still on the Middle East crisis.
Well, I mean, what is there to say again about the so-called?
Okay. So let me take it from. Okay. Yeah. Let me take it from this angle. So you know the Iranian's defense chief has been assassinated.
The head of national security.
Yeah, the head of national security. He's been killed basically. The Iranians are not happy. They've said that they will retaliate, but I'm told that he's actually been replaced. The thing about the way the governance structure was in Iran, when they lose a life quickly, it is replaced, and that's what is creating a lot of problems for their adversaries, because the whole idea, remember, is to regime change, which is to wipe off, to decapitate the entire leadership, but somehow new ones keep coming up, and it's frustrating for Israel and America as well. But in all of this, it appears that the Strait of Hormuz has become a strategic battleground, okay? Because America and Israel now, as you said earlier in your commentary, are now asking their key allies to come and assist them so they can basically rescue the Strait of Hormuz. But everybody says, no, you're on your own, because they're not too clear really what his motive for doing this is. What's the plan? What's the end game? They don't know that. So they're saying you're on your own. But I think there's been one or two European countries, the names don't come to mind, who have said perhaps, but I don't think that they really matter in the scheme of things. But yes, in principle, they are for that. Now, the Iranians have also given a condition that if any ship wants to use that pass, you would have to deal with us in the Chinese, currency, which is the yuan. And I'm told one or two, there have been a number of, ships that have been able to transact that business. But in all of this, the effect it has had on petrol prices, and how, as you also indicated earlier, Russia has now the ban on Russia, which was imposed on them by some European countries, and America has now been lifted. And we see the irony there, because Russia is not supposed to be the best of friend of America, but at the end, under the circumstances, it's been lifted. And Russia is going to be making close to about $150 million every day, and they're looking at some $10 billion for the next 1 month or so. That's a lot of money for them. The interesting thing, though, is that Russia and China have been supporting Iran with some intelligence gathering and so on. And so it's a very interesting mix of things, But back home, obviously, we're paying a bit more for fuel because obviously crude oil, the prices have gone up. We also have to adjust our pumps to reflect the reality. Try and put all of that in perspective for us. It doesn't look like the war is going to end anytime soon, is it?
Well, you see, I don't accept that the full effect of the U.S.-Israel aggression against Iran should be passed on to the Ghanaian consumer.
Why?
It is most unfair.
Okay.
Let me explain.
All right.
One, Ghana exports some crude, you understand? Not in sufficient quantities, but we do export some crude.
Yeah.
So if there are gains for exporters, we make some money. But that is not all. It may not be enough, I agree, but we will certainly make some money. How much is it? I don't know. But we can do the arithmetic. This war has also led to a very sharp increase in the price of gold.
True.
And Ghana is a major gold producer. How much are we making out of that and so on? So I'm saying that the impact is not all negative for Ghana. There are some positive impacts as well.
Right.
So it should be possible to net off the positive impact on gold and crude and so on against the escalating world market price. And if we do that, then we will not pass on the full cost of the crisis to the consumer. So this is my formula. I do not accept that we should just pass on the cost to the consumer. Otherwise, why do you have governments? You have governments so that they can be doing these balancing games and so on. If at every time there's a crisis, you pass on the full cost to the consumer, then we don't need a government. Then you can actually go to any primary school and select the class 6 pupils to come and run government. You understand? It is because we at all times must aim at making life more bearable for the ordinary. They say ordinary. I want to use average Ghanaian.
Yeah.
That is why we have government.
Yeah.
That is why we want the best, our best in politics, economy, and so on, to be running government for us.
True.
So I totally oppose to this idea of just passing on cost. It doesn't demonstrate, that our leaders have the right acumen, and so on. So that's my position.
Okay.
Now, I think it's important also to understand, and I've listened to a lot of the experts, opening up the Strait of Hormuz is a near impossible task. Near impossible task. What do the Iranians have to do? Just manage every now and then to fire one missile across the strait. Because what is fueling this is uncertainty. It's about not knowing when a missile can hit you and so on. And it's possible to maintain this level of uncertainty over a long period of time with very minimum effort.
Right.
Okay. Now, I was listening to one expert, naval expert, a retired U.S. naval officer who was being interviewed on one of the major Western networks. And he says, look, practically, all Iran has to do is to sink its own boats in the strait. It's a narrow strait. Sink its own boats in the strait, and that will cause a lot of commotion as well. You understand? Now, this Trumpian idea of getting NATO states to bring in their warships and so on, it will clog the strait.
Yeah.
And still impede trade and so on. But you see, my brother, there is something which is not often said, but that is the key factor. Okay. And listen. You see the US dollar. The US dollar has become the currency of preference for international trade. In reality, however, the US dollar is worthless. It's just a piece of paper. The US left the gold standard a long time ago. The US dollar is not backed by gold. What gives the US dollar its strength is that it is the currency which is used for international oil trade. That's an agreement between Saudi Arabia initially and the US. Okay. So the value of the US dollar, even though it's just paper, it's not backed by gold, it's not backed by anything, is that if you have to trade in oil, or if you have to trade in oil, you have to trade in the US dollar. Now that is changing. How is that changing? That is changing also partly because of the imposition of sanctions on Russia. So Russia then decided that to overcome the sanctions, it would trade its oil in rubles rather than in the dollar. It got India to agree to trade in oil using the Indian national currency. Now China is trading in oil using the Chinese national currency. And these are the major consumers. You understand? Iran now says they would accept the Chinese national currency rather than the dollar.
Yes.
Do you see what is happening?
Yeah.
Now, because the US dollar is the currency of preference for international trade and so on. Anytime the US needs money, it runs a huge deficit. Anytime it needs money, it just prints paper. You understand what I mean?
I get it.
Just prints paper. Yeah. That way, it is able to deal with its own internal deficit without having to worry. When the US is indebted, it prints dollars.
Right.
You understand? That way also, it has been able to export its inflation. So a lot of the inflation which is suffered around the world is US inflation, which is exported to us.
Yes.
Okay. So all of these changes that are happening in the supply of petroleum, trading in petroleum and so on, ultimately will weaken the US economy further because the US dollar would no longer be the currency of preference for international trade.
Right.
Other currencies are getting into the fray.
Right.
This is frightening.
Right.
This is frightening for the neocons in the US and so on. They want to do something about it. So when the US seizes Venezuelan oil, it is partly to address this problem. When Donald Trump says that if you want Venezuelan oil, don't go to Caracas, come to me and so on, why? The US is now trading Venezuelan oil, which would otherwise have been traded in rubles and Chinese yuan and other currencies. But because the US has taken control over Venezuelan oil, it is now able to trade Venezuelan oil in dollars.
Right.
To still keep the dollar floating.
Yeah.
This is a dimension which we don't speak about. True. But it's a very important and crucial dimension in the equation.
Right.
I hope you understand what I'm saying.
The dollar is under threat.
The dollar is under threat. And the dollar is under threat because of the mistakes that the capitalist countries themselves have made.
Right.
You understand? Sometime in history, Spain was such a powerful country. You understand? Yeah. And Spain's national currency was a currency of preference for international trade. Now, what happened was that Spain got into so many wars around the world. And it was having difficulty in financing its war effort. So it began diluting its silver and gold coins. You understand what I mean? And it lost the chance for its currency to become the currency of preference for international trade. That is how the Spanish Empire collapsed. True. Not too long ago, a couple of hundreds of years ago, Britain was the dominant power in the world. The British pound was the currency of preference for international trade. Right. That also collapsed. Why? Because Britain overstretched itself. Right. And its currency collapsed. The US, as we speak today, is overstretching itself and its currency is collapsing and there is panic. And because the US dollar, its value is related to the oil trade and so on, it is anxious to seize the oil trade and dominate it so that the value of its currency or the relevance of its currency may not be destroyed. Right. That is the point.
Right.
All of these things about weapons of mass destruction and so on, it's just a ruse. And let me tell you why it's a ruse. You see, the Iranian nuclear program was begun in 1957. That's when Iran began its nuclear program. The Iranian nuclear program was begun with the full assistance of the United States of America, Germany, and France. They started. Indeed, at some point, Iran reached 95% enrichment of uranium under the guidance of the US. The US trained more than 4,000 nuclear scientists to manage Iran's program. There was no problem with the Iranian program until 1979. Why? Because the Iranian Revolution occurred in 1979.
Yeah.
That is when the US began panicking. It was losing its influence in Iran and so on. That's when it began panicking. But another interesting dimension of all of this is simply the fact that the people they are killing Ayatollah Khomeini, who was killed on the first day, is the one person who for 30 years has insisted that Iran should not produce a weapon of mass destruction. Who has actually issued a fatwa saying that the production of nuclear weapons and their possession is a crime against God. Why kill him? If your concern is about Iran's capacity to produce a nuclear weapon, why do you kill the very person who is against that? Doesn't make sense. You see, the guy who was killed yesterday, the head of Iranian national security, is somebody I know. Okay? I've met him, I think, twice or thrice. The last time, Ghana sent a parliamentary delegation to Iran, and I was in Tehran. So there was a meeting with Right Honorable Do Ajaho, and I was invited to attend that meeting. So I was in that meeting.
Okay.
This is perhaps the coolest gentleman I've ever met. Very rational, and so on.
Ali is his name.
Yes. This is a guy who was opposed to the production of a nuclear weapon.
True.
You've gone and killed him. You've gone and killed him. He was vehemently opposed to the production of a nuclear weapon.
In fact, the Americans were comfortable with him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They've gone and killed him.
Yeah, they were comfortable with him.
Now, you are killing all those who are opposed to the production of a nuclear weapon. A new crop of leadership is beginning to emerge in Iran, and we don't know what their commitments are going to be.
True.
Or whether their commitments are going to change in the light of the aggression against them, and so on. It doesn't make any sense. You understand?
Right.
Now, Moro, right now, if you look at the situation, the Americans are having to move their weapons from Asia, from Korea and Japan and so on, to West Asia, to the Gulf, because they are having difficulty getting the necessary weapons to fight.
Yeah.
Okay? They are calling on their NATO allies to bring their warships to help them. The NATO allies say, no, we are not coming. Zelensky is offering, drones. They say, we don't trust Zelensky and so on. They are in a crisis. They don't even have the weaponry that is necessary in order to prosecute this war for a long period. Iran, on the other hand, doesn't have to do much. If I were handling Iranian security, I would sit pretty. Every now and then, release 5, 10 missiles, 20 missiles. It's enough. Because Iran is profiting from the insecurity in the region. You understand? If you take the Gulf states, they are tourist destinations. Dubai benefits from its airport.
They're the hardest hit, actually.
Any sense of insecurity, and the sense of insecurity can be produced by one missile.
Yeah.
Just one missile flying across Dubai sends a signal, and Dubai is in trouble.
True.
You understand? So Iran doesn't have to do that much in order to win. It has to do very little in order to win. That's the problem. That's the problem that the United States and Netanyahu's Zionist occupationist force in Israel have to deal with.
And Iran is telling their Gulf neighbors to close the U.S. bases. In fact, that's what is captured in your paper today.
But that is important for even us in Ghana.
Yeah.
Now, it must be clear to every country in the world that hosting foreign military bases has consequences.
Yeah. True.
You understand? We in Ghana have to wake up to the reality that hosting a U.S. forward operating base has consequences for us.
Yeah.
And this is an important lesson from this war.
Okay.
It's so complicated.
Yeah.
It's anyway. Yes, Muru.
I think has a high conversation.
Well, it's okay. As a senior with so much understanding,
he knows a lot.
It's good listening to him. But for me,
we learn every day from him.
For me, I want to bring the conversation back home because over there we've had enough talk about it. So back home, what are we seeing? We are seeing increases in fuel prices at the pump. We used to have it around 11.25, in some cases 10.9. But as at yesterday, when you pass through town, it's going between 13 to 16 per liter.
Yeah.
Okay, and that is huge jump.
True.
And these are times where you don't know whether you need to follow people in terms of politicking, or we have to just be nationalistic and look at the situation without partisan lenses. Because we have history. You see, Ghana's economy is not independent of itself. We depend on a lot of factors, particularly international factors. And so when you have COVID hitting this country, when you have Russia-Ukraine war going on, and then a conversation occurs where a government tries to situate some of its challenges to the occurrences of COVID and then Russian-Ukraine war as having impact on the economy. The way and manner the opposition then, that is the NDC, took advantage and then created the impression that yes, we are having challenges, but the challenges cannot be attributed to the Russian-Ukraine war or COVID. Then you come back how many years down the line? 5 years, 6 years down the line. And you're asking yourself, why are we linking the challenges we are facing now, and even worse, if this war should drag, to the happenings in the Middle East? It tells you that these are realities. You cannot run away from them.
That statement you made is factually inaccurate.
Okay.
When you say that the NDC, when they were in opposition, had refused to accept that external or exogenous factors have an impact on the economy, it's not factually inaccurate. I mean, yes, what I recall the NDC had said at the time was that, yes, there is some impact. But the reason why we felt it the more was because our fundamentals were weak. And they can give you a litany of things that they believe you did that weakened Ghana's fundamentals. Yes.
What I said was not to say, and I was very clear in my mind, that they were not indicating that the entirety of the problem sits around the COVID or the happenings between Russia and Ukraine. But they made it very clear, including even the former then flag bearer, who is the president today, that Ukraine and Russia sit about 6,000 miles away from Ghana. So why would a bomb flying between Ukraine and Russia be said as a consequence to the happenings in Ghana and its effect? So that is the context. And even today, why the drastic or the sharp increase in petroleum prices? Isn't it the same fundamentals? Are they telling us that if what would have been the situation if the fundamentals have been weak, or if the fundamentals haven't been as it is? The reality is that this is how much crude is sold. If it goes beyond a particular price, you have to adjust your prices domestically.
Let me read just a small point. Let me read this.
I was going to.
Now, I've not even started my point.
Just I want to share this information with you before you proceed.
Yes.
If you look at today's Inquisitor, the MPA boss, the Chief Executive Officer, Godwin Eduzi Tamaklo, has a response to the question you asked about whether about the impact of the rise in crude prices on Ghana's economy, and more specifically what we're paying for export price. Now this is what he says. He says sound forex management protects citizens from fuel price shocks. Now, the source, the Chief Executive Officer of the Ghana National Petroleum Authority, Mr. Godwin Eduzi Tamaklo, has emphasized the critical role of sound exchange rate management in shielding Ghanaians from the full impact of rising global fuel prices, even as crude oil continues to surge due to geopolitical conflict and supply chain challenges. He praised the sterling management of the exchange rate under the Mahama-led NDC government, noting that it has helped cushion Ghanaians amid fuel price hikes resulting from the ongoing Middle East conflict. Ghana's economy has crossed the $100 billion mark, with government projecting expansion to $140 billion by 2026, and it goes on and on and on and on.
Yeah, so you see,
Which is the difference between what we're seeing today and what had happened in the past.
No. He said nothing because when these things begin to happen, the impact, you see them over time, including depreciation of your currency. If you don't have enough buffers to protect your currency, and you can.
But Uncle Kwesi has just also made a point earlier. Sorry.
No. Feel free more.
But Uncle Kwesi makes a very valid point that yes, in as much as crude oil prices are surging, or they are spiking, or they are going up, it is also true that the price of gold is going up, and we just don't export oil; we export gold.
Yes.
And so, yes, even with the exportation of oil, we're making more money. Okay, we're making more money because the price have gone up. That's one. He also makes the point that two, gold prices have shot up astronomically.
Yes.
And so we're making more money from the sale of gold.
Yes.
And the more money we make through the sale of gold, the more forex we get.
Yes.
And the more forex we get, the more we're able to tame the dollar and to appreciate the cedi. And that's the economics argument he makes. I don't know if that factors into what
you're saying. No, it does. That's why you see you're not allowing me. You are not allowing me to make
my apologies.
Because I'm very clear. I sit also as a finance and economics person. You see, and it's early days yet. You see, it's early days yet to make these statements and take credit for the pricing. And I'm saying that even the jump from 11 to 16 and 13 is very significant.
It is.
To the extent of the rising of crude that we are seeing, the prices of crude. And it is because we are passing the increase to the consumer. And we are passing the increase to the consumer because we don't want to weaken our economic base.
Right.
Because if you don't want to pass it all to the consumer, then conversations around use some of your reserves, convert them into forex to cushion the purchase of the fuel. There are taxes that have been imposed over time. The 1 Ghana cedi per litre alone puts the 4.5 Ghana cedis per gallon. If you reduce or if you suspend that particular 1 Ghana cedi, it is going to sharply drop the prices down to where it used to be.
Right.
But government is still doing the mathematics and saying we have made a lot of savings. They refuse it to liquidate or pay off some debt. If we don't continue to charge it, we will come back and accumulate more debt within the next foreseeable future. So there are a lot of things that are being reviewed. And what we are saying, and where I agree with Agric and the Ghanaian populace, is that government should come very clear with us its strategy in managing this particular happenings. You can't keep us in the dark. At least you know that this is happening. What is our next 3 months plan? Because the government could, looking at the rising in the crude oil price, will say that okay, between the price of wherever you used to $100 per barrel, we are not going to increase the cost of petroleum. We are going to absorb the shocks based on our reserves we've made because government is going to contribute so much. Or we're going to use the 1 Ghana cedi that we were charging per litre, convert it from using it to pay those outstanding bills for now, and use it to cushion the cost of petroleum. And all of this should be clearly communicated to Ghanaians. And then if it crosses 100 to 120, this is what is going to mean to us. But where we keep quiet and you just tell us that if not because of the stability of the currency, we would have done what? The prices of fuel would have gone to 18 Ghana cedi or 20 Ghana cedi. Is that what Edoji is telling us? And I'm saying that government at this material moment should not continue to pass the cost of this rising cost to Ghanaians because already we are overpricing in terms of taxes. Tax constitutes almost about 30 to 40%, almost 50%. The last time we checked with NPA, the price, the taxes and the levies built up in our petroleum model is close to 50%. So it tells you that if there are some adjustments within the taxes and the levies that we put on, the price, and you know, once you have transportation prices changing and going up, you are going to all the inflationary gains that we've been referencing. Food inflation has gone down to this percentage. Month-on-month inflation has dropped to 3.8. Wait till the next inflation statistics come for April, and you see the effect of this particular rises on our economy. Okay. And so government, and we need to learn lessons, and that is why I'm happy that this government has the benefits of hindsight. How we manage COVID, spent so much on it, thinking that we were going to use it to support Christian Ghanaians, and how many years down the line we bear the brunt of it. So those mathematics that they are making, all the calculations that they are making, the net effect is that we've come very far as a country.
Okay.
The cost of petroleum is rising. The speed at which it is going, we cannot continue to pass on that bill to the ordinary Ghanaian, as Agric will now refer to as the average Ghanaian.
Okay.
Let government give us clarity. As at now, what is government doing to support us in terms of the rising prices in the petroleum sector?
Okay.
The 1 Ghana cedi that they have been charging since last year. Okay. What is government's plan in using that to mitigate the challenges that we face? Okay. So that at the end of the day, we don't see inflation and all other things going on.
Okay, so let me do this briefly before you come in. I beg you. There's a free dental screening program or event that's going to be taking place here at the premises of Metro Television or the Ignite Media Group. Let me just, inform you about this. Now, are you due for a dental checkup? Pepsodent, in partnership with Metro Television, is inviting you to a free dental screening at our premises. Free dental screening, which is Metro TV in partnership with Pepsodent, is organizing a free dental screening at our premises. So it's happening on Monday, that's next week Monday, 23rd of March, and it is throughout the day. So you can pass by and get your teeth checked and all of that. So come and get your teeth checked by a professional dentist, receive expert advice, and learn how to keep your smile healthy at no cost to you. It's free. That's the point I'm trying to make. Now, let me also say that the Minerals Commission wants to remind you that there's all kinds of fake news in the system, and they want you to be aware of this. I'm trying to get that statement to you as quickly as I can, so that whilst I'm looking for that statement, sorry about that. Are you looking for a business in Ghana that has global presence? If you're looking for a business which has a global presence, I've got some great news for you, fantastic news for you, so please pay attention. Now, I'm talking about a business which is totally reliable and in turn reliant on your satisfaction. Your satisfaction is key. Now, MNC Group has got you covered, okay? So just call MNC Group on any of these numbers. It's 0256, again, 056 103 2253, 056 103 2253, or 0265 505 337, 0265 505 337. MNC Group, they are experts in food commodities, trading, real estate development, and also logistics. So they have headquarters in East Legon, MNC Group. They also have offices in Dubai, they have offices in Hong Kong, Guangzhou in China, Johannesburg in South Africa, Milan in Italy. So to get the best on your deals, please call the number 02655 05 337. So 02655 05 337 or 0561 032253. If you are out of Ghana, please prefix the number with +2. MNC Group. When I say MNC Group, please say it after me. Totally Reliance. MNC Group. Totally reliant. And also, and just let me just do this. Are you into agro-processing equipment manufacturing? Are you an agro-processing equipment manufacturer or a manufacturer of any of the Agric machinery? Do you have any innovation or technology that can improve agro-processing? Register to join an exhibit at the Made in Ghana Agricultural and Agro-Processing Technology Fair. Is called the Ghana Agritech Fair 2026. It was launched yesterday by the President, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama. Now, the fair being organized by the Ministry of Trade, Agribusiness and Industry in partnership with the Ghana Exim Bank is seeking to showcase locally manufactured Agric machinery, implement and agro-processing equipment and technologies. The fair will also market linkages between technology developers, agro-industrial businesses, farmers, fishers, and exporters. And it's running from the 17th to the 19th of March 2026 at the Independence Square. And yesterday, the commissioning or the inauguration was beautiful. It went really well. And Metro TV was able to brought you a live coverage of yesterday's event. So to exhibit at the Ghana Agritech Fair, it's not too late. You can still register to exhibit. Kindly call 0242 58 5419 0242 58 5419 or 055 96 79 326. 055 96 79 326 to register. General public is invited. Ghana Agritech Fair 2026, transforming agribusiness through local innovation and technology. The media partners are City FM Channel 1 TV, Radio Gold Daily Graphic, Metro TV, and the Media General Group. I've got some more announcements for you, but I'll pause here and bring in Uncle Kwesi Prant so that we can look at the rest. Uncle Kwesi.
Yeah, to some extent, the Honorable Member of Parliament is right.
Okay.
But only to some extent.
Right.
The last time I checked, I looked at the petroleum price build-up. About 50% of the ex-pump price is made up of taxes and levies.
Yes.
You are right to that extent. But even more importantly, if you look at how we determine the price of petroleum products, we used assumed import prices.
True.
So if you look at the build-up, there's a reference to ex-Rotterdam. Anytime you see ex-Rotterdam on the build-up, what it means is that if we were to import our product from Rotterdam, this would be the price. Yeah. But interestingly, the price may fall below, the actual price may fall below Rotterdam pricing, which is the assumed price. So you make a lot of money from the taxes, which is about 50%, and you can also make money from the assumed pricing if you buy below the assumed price. So to that extent, Honorable, you're right. Okay? Where I have a problem with is this attempt to equate the current crisis to COVID and the war in Ukraine.
No, I didn't seek to equate. Maybe I only linked it for
Yeah,
what
but
it's
even the
worth.
linking is a problematic because you're dealing with two completely different scenarios. The Strait of Hormuz is not in Ukraine, it's not in Russia. Okay? The Russian-Ukrainian war did not affect oil the way this war is affecting oil. The two situations are completely different. You have to understand that. Now, for me, no student of geopolitics can argue that we are insulated from anything and everything that happens around the world. I mean, if there's a problem in Grenada, it can have consequences for Ghana and so on. So to that extent, the war in Ukraine also had some consequences for Ghana. COVID had some circumstances for Ghana. The question is, what was the extent of the consequences? And as Edoji Tamakro explains, the impact of external conflicts on our economy is dependent on the extent of prudent management of our economy. If you manage your economy prudently, you can minimize the risk. Assuming that we were exchanging the cedi to the dollar at 17 cedis to a dollar, what would the prices be at the pump? They'll be much higher than they are today. It is because today we are exchanging at 11 cedis to a dollar that you have the price as they are today. So the internal management of the economy is crucial. In fact, it's the most crucial indicator. Now, I didn't want to go back to the COVID era and so on. When we had COVID, we had substantial relief from our so-called foreign partners. There's a lot of grants and so on. What did we use it for? You know how we use that money. We shared it to parliamentary candidates. If I'm lying, tell me. Is that prudent management of the economy? It is not. So if we had prudently utilized the resources we gained as a result of COVID and so on, we would not have had the crisis that we had. But we didn't prudently manage those resources. We squandered those resources on useless things that had no bearing, no relevance to the management of the national economy. That's one of the things that, you know, needs to be spoken about. You understand? Now, the war on Ukraine, its main impact was on agriculture. Agriculture and food supplies. That was one of the major impacts of the war on Ukraine. For example, fertilizer. It affected the importation of fertilizer, chemical fertilizer, not organic fertilizer, chemical fertilizer from Ukraine and also from Russia.
True.
Why did we get there? Why did we suffer as a result? We suffered as a result largely because our governments had failed to develop organic fertilizer as a substitute. And we have the capacity to develop organic fertilizer as a substitute to chemical fertilizer. We didn't do it, and that is why we were so badly hit. Okay? Why does, not just Ghana, the whole of Africa, why do we depend on food supplies from Ukraine and elsewhere? When indeed it's a fact that 2/3 of the arable lands of the world are in Africa. Yeah. It doesn't simply make sense. So if we suffer from Ukraine, it is because of the fact that we are not managing our affairs properly and so on. Today, even though we will be directly hit by the crisis in West Asia, especially around the Strait of Hormuz and so on, because we are running an inflation rate of 3.3, because the cedi to the dollar rate has improved significantly, because the economy itself had grown by a certain margin, as you said this morning and so on, the impact will be minimized. Yeah. These are the facts.
So
these are the facts.
There are no, you see, there are no doubt as to currently the impact of what is happening to our economy and the strength of the economy today to absorb to an extent where we are.
Yeah.
The caution that I've always given, and I've given this caution right in 2025, the fundamentals that we always talk about, including the Agric and all of those things, governments over time have not strengthened the internal fundamentals. The things we are talking about, it's all because we have now high cost of gold prices, which is giving us so much in terms of forex. If the gold price today should drop, it started coming down, it's now around 4,000 something. It went all the way to 6,000, 7,000. It's now dropped a bit to 4,000 thereabout. Should gold prices continue to fall and fall sharply, what would happen to these fundamentals that we always talk about, building a strong economy domestically, improving on our manufacturing sector, creating more industries, creating more domestic jobs for the people? The Agric sector that we've been talking about, what kind of support are we giving to the Agric sector so that we can build our own these happenings concerning tomatoes and all of that, that people have to go to other countries to import when we have the ability to do all of this domestically. What has been the clear government initiatives or policies to strengthen these domestic economies? So when we are making these conversations and arguments, it is not as if you don't give credit where it is due. We are all very clear in our minds where we are today from where the government took up in 2025. Dollar was at 4, it was exchanging at 14. Now it is 10.85 at interbank. At the open market is selling at 11.5. We all know how much it has taken us to pump money through the gold reserves and the rest to cushion the economy. It's all good. But for how long? If these things, if the prices of gold and cocoa and all of, like the cocoa shocks that happened to us, if we have done much better planning in the cocoa sector, would we have reduced the cocoa farmers' pricing during that window? No. So there are a whole lot of national conversations how we build a resilient and a strong economy. But if we just for a short term, and I talk about this short term because we've been there before. This is not the first time Ghana has run an inflation below 10%. Yes, 3.8 is very significant today.
3.3 now.
Yes, but we've been to 5% before, and we rose sharply to 50% or 35%. It means that what we see today, if we don't manage things right, we would gradually see all these things going back to where we never wanted to be. So when we create these cautions, it is not as if we don't appreciate what is happening today. But the things that we need to do to build that resilient and strong economy, I don't see them. And I ask these questions every day in Parliament. The Agric sector, 1 year, we're going 1.5 years down the line. What really have we done? Previous government talked about planting for food and jobs. It was an initiative that was created. What was the impact? Today we said we are doing, how did they call the Agric sector intervention? the NDC Agric sector intervention. They have a name for it, not a Jumera. You see, we have cliches. We use terminologies and words, but at the end of the day, you don't see their implementation. 2025, the Agric sector suffered greatly because releases to the ministry hadn't come. Go and engage again as at the first quarter, the ministries. They are still suffering from releases of government. So you go 2 years with minimal investment in the areas that are critical. And then when the shocks begin to happen.
The Feed Ghana program.
The Feed Ghana program, including the Nkokon Kitenkete that you can't exactly. So we have a lot to do and we don't have much time. Government programs have to go on. Support for the areas have to be given. We need to go beyond relying on these macroeconomics, which are good, but only for a while if we don't build the other buffers.
Okay.
And so that is how I want us to look.
Let me read some messages, or you have.
Oh, just to tie it
just a quick one to tie it.
Again,
Okay.
I mean, to be honest, Honorable, you are right, only to some extent. Again,
because you introduced me to only to an extent.
Yes, okay. and I'll explain. You see, you are right to the extent that no sustainable economic development is possible with reliance on commodity prices.
Right.
I mean, it's crazy. Commodity prices cannot give you sustained economic development. And some of the developments we are seeing now is based on favorable commodity prices like gold and so on, you know. So you are right to that extent. Okay. My problem, however, is this. Today, the economic program that the government of the NDC is running is not substantially different from the economic program that the NPP ran.
Correct.
We are not out of the IMF program yet. So it's still the IMF program we are running. So both governments are running the same economic program. The platform is the same. So you have to ask an important question. How is it that the two governments are running the same economic program and yet the outcomes are different? That's an important question.
And just a feeling, then you continue.
Okay.
The outcomes are not different. They are consistent because when we started the IMF program, we saw all the indicators dropping sharply in up to end of 2024. So when the NDC took over, they continued from where we left off, and that is why the trajectory has gone to where we are. So under the program, you didn't see any deviation negatively. All the indicators were very positive.
With that. Yeah. I wouldn't fully agree with that. And there are indicators. I'm not going to go there. Yes. You want to drive me there, but let me stay on my lane. You understand? So the two governments are running essentially the same program, but outcomes, as far as I'm concerned, are different. There must be some reason for it. And for me, the reason is prudence and discipline. These two ingredients are the ingredients which determine that even though they are running the same program, one appears to be doing better than the other. Discipline and prudence, you understand? But you see, discipline and prudence cannot by themselves lead to economic resuscitation and sustenance of the development effort. It cannot. You need something else. You need a new vision. And so on. And I insist that the pursuit of the neoliberal order is what has been responsible for our current condition. We could have done much better if we had abandoned the neoliberal order, which Jerry Rawlins's government embraced with both hands and feet in 1982. You understand? The economic recovery program, the structural adjustment program, the consequences, and so on. Some of the shocks we are suffering today are largely the result of that embrace of the neoliberal order by Jerry Rawlins's government in 1982-83. You understand? But that's some history that we can deal with much later. And I'm saying that we need a new paradigm of development. We need a completely new paradigm of development which recognizes that there are so many things we can do for ourselves as a people and as a nation. Okay? Which also recognizes, establishes what the national priority is. I don't think that the national priority is to just lower inflation, improve the value of the cedi as against the dollar, and so on. I don't think that ought to be the national priority. What I think concretely ought to be the national priority is the improvement of the standard of life of the Ghanaian. And it may come at a cost which will disturb the microeconomic indicators. So we are talking about improved access to education. We are talking about job creation. We are talking about availability of food and health essentials and so on. Those should be the national priorities, rather than these statistical averages. Because the statistical averages don't tell you everything. Right. They tell you only something, not everything. You understand? So if we were to focus on the real needs of the Ghanaian people and how to achieve those real needs of the Ghanaian people and so on, economic development will then begin to make more sense to the people in the streets and so on. That's the point I'm making.
Okay. We're going to take a short break, but I have lots of messages that I'm going to read. Please stay with us. It's Good Morning Ghana on Metro Television.
Ukraine-Russia war. Now Ukraine-Russia, Omokwa, ya Ghana for ya home. Yeah, it's your baby. Ukraine-Russia war. What's not play mu now? Kasa wo call Ukraine now. Ufi Accra, 7,000 kilometers and San Wakudru. No more come on talkwa. Then say Yesika sem. Na Cote d'Ivoire and some kasa. Say Russia, Ukraine, no more come. And so
a few moments later,
Ghana is not immune from the shocks of global events.
To us is how can global phenomena skip Cote d'Ivoire and all the surrounding countries and only attack Ghana? How does it happen? The question that you have to ask is, How can global phenomena skip Cote d'Ivoire and all the surrounding countries and only attack Ghana? How? How does it happen? The question that you...
Start your Kids Day the right way, filled with confidence to take on any challenge. Pepsodent Kids contains the right amount of fluoride and sugar acid protection to care for their developing gums and teeth. Grab either orange or strawberry so they brush with the sweet flavor they love morning and evening. Pepsodent Kids, giving your children a bright smile for a brighter future.
The Ghana Exim Bank is 10 years old. Hooray! And to commemorate this milestone, the Ghana Exim Bank is hosting a 2-day international conference on the theme, A Decade of Enabling Export Trade and Industrial Transformation, Resetting GEXIM for the Next Frontier. The event takes place on the 25th to 26th of March at the Kempinski Hotel, Gold Coast City, 8 a.m. each day. President of the Republic, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, will perform the official opening of the conference. Special guest and speaker, Honorable Elizabeth Ofosue-Jari, Minister for Trade, Agribusiness and Industry. Conference host is Honorable Sylvester Adina Mensah, Chief Executive of the Ghana Exim Bank. For inquiries, call 0208-541-480 or visit eximbankghana.com/conference to register. Media partners, Daily Graphic, Media General, The Multimedia Group, City FM, Radio Gold and Channel 1 TV. And knowledge partners include IFC and SME Finance Forum.
Yes, next. Hey, Nadia Benson,
Me didn't tum. Mr. Friend, Calico, just call me cockroach. Now, Mr. Friend, me once now.
Hey, that's you. Improve car. Yeah. Captain was key to double the action.
Sasso spray, Mr. Friend is Sasso quell. Yeah, go to my Sasso.
Sasso, come tum preko.
When nations rise, it begins with bold conversations. When economies grow, it is driven by partnership. This April, Ghana's business and policy leaders converge at the Pro Business Forum 2026, the nation's premier platform for investment, enterprise, and economic transformation, with special guest of honor, His Excellency President John Dramani Mahama, joining captains of industry, financial institutions, investors, and entrepreneurs.
The Pro Business Forum is more than just an event. It is a call to action. And so let us work together to build a Ghana that is competitive, productive, and inclusive, and a Ghana that creates opportunities for all.
Come, let's engage in high-level dialogue, explore industry exhibitions, build powerful networks, and unlock real opportunities from finance and insurance to manufacturing, agribusiness, SMEs, and innovation. This is where it all happens. From the 3rd to the 5th of April 2026 at the Kwo Convention Center in Praeso Hills. Go to www.kwobusinessforum.com and register now. To register for exhibitions, call 059 555 5885 or 059 555 5995. Kwo Business Forum. Connect, promote, grow.
Right, interesting developments in Morocco, isn't it? Yeah, we'll look at that at the tail end of the conversation. Morocco has been declared the winner of the CAF football event that happened in January this year. We'll look at the implications of the change of the swapping, let me put it that way, of or the declaration of Morocco as the winners and not Senegal. Quite an interesting development as far as the African football is concerned. It was all over on BBC this morning. We'll spend some minutes on that at the tail end of the discussion. But I want us to quickly do this. But before we do that, let me just say that the Minerals Commission has some important information that it wants us to share with you. It says it's public notice, caution to the general public on fraudulent emails and impersonation. The Minerals Commission of Ghana wishes to bring to the attention of the general public, stakeholders and participants within the mining sector that it has recently received reports of fraudulent emails and their communications being circulated by individuals impersonating staff of the Commission. These individuals are falsely presenting themselves as officials of the Minerals Commission and using unofficial email addresses and digital platforms to contact members of the public, investors and companies under the pretext of facilitating mineral licenses, permits, registrations, payments, or other regulatory services. In some instances, these impersonators attempt to solicit money or request sensitive information, claiming to act on behalf of the Commission. The Minerals Commission wishes to unequivocally state that these communications are fraudulent and do not originate from the Commission or any of its authorized officers. The Commission does not request payment or confidential information through unofficial channels, private email accounts, or third-party intermediaries. So all official correspondence from the Commission is conducted through authorized institutional channels. The public is thereby strongly advised to exercise caution when dealing with individuals or entities claiming to represent the Minerals Commission. Stakeholders are encouraged to verify all communications and avoid making payments or sharing sensitive information with unknown persons who claim to act on behalf of the Commission. Anyone who receives suspicious messages, emails or inquiries, emails or requests relating to the activities of the Minerals Commission is encouraged to immediately report the matter to the Commission for verification and further action. The Minerals Commission remains committed to protecting the integrity of Ghana's mineral administration system and safeguarding the interests of the public and the legitimate stakeholders in the mining sector. The Commission will continue to work with the relevant authorities to address and prevent fraudulent activities conducted in its name. And this is issued by the Corporate Communications Department. So please take note. It's an extremely important announcement. Let me okay. All right. So okay, sorry about that. Let me okay. Okay. There's an upcoming conference that I want to draw your attention to. So Ghana Exim Bank is 10 years old. Ghana Exim Bank, or called a GEXIM, is 10 years old. The bank is hosting an international conference on the theme, A Decade of Enabling Export Trade and Industrial Transformation, Resetting GEXIM for the Next Frontier. It's happening from the 25th to the 26th of March 2026 at the Kempinski Gold Coast City Hotel, Accra, at 8 a.m. each day. The President of the Republic, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, will perform the official opening of the ceremony. The conference will bring together captains of industry, thought leaders and decision makers in the global development finance ecosystem to deliberate on emerging issues in the development finance space. So if you want to be a part of this, please call 020-8541-481. So 020-8541-480 for inquiries. Or you can just simply visit www.eximbankghana.com. Conference to register. Conference host is Honorable Sylvester Edina Mensah. He is the Chief Executive of the Ghana Exim Bank. The media partners are Daily Graphic, Media General, City FM, Radio Go, Channel 1 TV, the Multimedia Group, and Metro TV. Then, sorry about that, knowledge partners are IFC and SME Finance Forum. So this is for your information. So obviously, it looks like we still have or we have an unemployment crisis on our hands, and it's staring right there in our face. And I think it manifested a few days ago when, some Ghanaians decided to try their luck with the security services, either with immigration, prison service, police, and the fire service. 506,000 people applied. Their documentations were checked. They did the body checks, and they wrote an aptitude test, and it was pruned down to 100 and something thousand, applicants. Now, that 100 and something thousand applicants are expected or have been asked to go through to do some medical examinations. Now, they did a medical examination, and it was only 5,000 people who finally were selected to join the security services. Remember that these 500-something thousand people picked their forms, application forms, for some 250 or 220 cities or so. If you put all of that together, we're looking at close to about 100 and something million cities, which the 111 million cities which have been raked in by the authorities. Now, the minority thinks that the way the whole process was conducted is in bad taste, and that the monies that have been collected from these, they call them poor people, should be refunded to them. In some cases, they think that at the very least refund a part of it to them. Now, the president 2 days ago then held an emergency meeting with the top echelons of the security services. So here we're talking immigration, fire service, prisons, Ghana Armed Forces, and the IGP. And he's asked them, after the meeting, the finance minister was also there. After the meeting, he asked them that the numbers be increased. Originally, it was 20,000 for the next 4 years, but he says make it 40,000 for the next 4 years. The minority, again, are asking questions about it. I'm happy that Isaac Boama is here, who would share the minority's view on this matter. But closely related to this, yesterday, the president met Labour, the heads of the Labour unions, and some issues have come up. And from the meeting now, we're told that Finance Minister has confirmed the start of public sector recruitment despite high wage bill. Now, Finance Minister Dr. Castle Atoforsin, and I'm reading this, from the Daily Post. The Finance Minister Dr. Castle Atoforsin has announced that the administration has commenced processes for recruitment of staff into the public service. This is despite revealing that the government was forced to borrow some 17 billion cedis to pay salaries in 2025. Addressing a dialogue with President John Dramani Mahama on March 17, Dr. Forsin confirmed that the recruitment push is part of the government's broader agreement with organized labor aimed at fulfilling commitment to boost staffing levels across various state agencies. In line with the 9th November 2025 agreement on the 2026 base pay, government is committed to engaging with unions and undertake critical recruitment into the public service, all within budget constraints. Dr. Forson stated, in this regard, government has commenced processes for the recruitment of staff into the public service. The announcement comes at a time of intense fiscal pressure. According to the minister's own briefing, Ghana's compensation to tax revenue ratio stands at a staggering 44%. That's huge, isn't it? Well above the ECOWAS threshold of 35%. The 2025 compensation bill of 78.9 billion cedis exceeded the total non-oil tax revenue left after statutory funds and debt servicing by 17 billion cedis, a shortfall that had to be covered through borrowing. However, the minister assured stakeholders that the recruitment would be conducted within budget constraints. But I'm also told that Dr. Forsing has been targeted for mudslinging. I don't know why. We're told for being prudent at finance ministry, but maybe that's another conversation for another day. I'll start with you, Isaac Buamanyako. Try and put all of that in this perspective for us. Unemployment crisis.
Yes, Muru. So it is no doubt that Ghana has a very young population, very youthful population. And so statistics suggest that the current unemployed youth stands around 3.5 million Ghanaian youth. And so if you check even the number of students that graduate annually from the universities, it stands about 150 to 200,000 people annually who complete tertiary institutions and are thrown into the job market. So the conversation has always been, what is the state doing to improve the creation of employment for the youth? I have said time and again that creating jobs is not only a function of the state, because the state cannot absorb the number of people that are being looking for jobs. And it clearly shows from even the recent recruitment exercise that was initiated by the security services. You have in excess of 500,000 people applying for a position meant for only 5,000 people. That is only 1% of the total number of people who showed interest in these recruitment exercises. So clearly, even the directive of the president to increase it to 40,000 over a 4-year period or 10,000 per annum still amounts to very little. That's a meager 2% of those interested in joining the security forces. And so the bigger conversation is, what is government doing in creating more opportunities within the public and the private sector for the youth to be gainfully employed? And that is why I've said time and again that since 2025, reviewing government initiatives and policies, there's no clear direction as to how governments want to create jobs for the youth. For example, government said that they are going to train 1 million youth in the coders program. 1 million youth would have been a third or more, close to a third of the unemployed youth in the country. 1.5 years as we approach down the line, what has become of the coders program? Government talked about establishing Women's Bank. 1 year, 3 months, going into 1.5 years. Last year, they made provision for 40 million, 100 million. Nothing was paid to establish Women's Bank. Today, they have devoted 401 million to establish Women's Banking. This is supposed to provide some flexible credit for traders, for market women, for women who want to do business. What has happened to the establishment of Women's Banking as at the end of March as we approach? Government has created or they came up with a Geopolitical program. We are 1.5 years down the line. What has become of the Geopolitical program? We are talking about Nkokon Ketinkete. 1.5 years down the line, what has become of the number of people shortlisted? How many Nkoko have been procured? How many businesses have been set up in this particular area for them to talk about employment? The flagship program of this government, 24-hour economy, policy paper presented, bill passed, signed or assented to by the president. As we speak now, 133 job opportunities for the youth of this country. What has become of the 24-hour economy? So when you look at this in totality, it gives little hope for the youth of this country in terms of practically what government is doing to create jobs for the youth. And that is why when you go back to this security architecture and the intention and the directive for the president to increase, you as a government had a budget. You don't just wake up to arrive at employing 5,000 over 20,000 over a 4-year term. It means that the numbers have been looked at. The Ministry of Finance have done the simulation. They are convinced that given the security service sector, the maximum they can do is 20,000. And that is why they started this process. Now, because of the backlash, President is directing the Minister for Finance to increase the numbers and double it to 40,000. What is informing the directive of the President? Is the President saying that they have found new money somewhere to employ 10,000 people as of today? Where is the Minister of Finance finding that budget from? Because we've already appropriated the budget of this government for the year 2026. And within it, they had factored 5,000 recruitment for the security service. How are they going to increase that number to 10,000 when this budget has been approved? Are they coming back in the mid-year budget to seek for a revision of that particular money that was approved? And so I'm very worried. I'm coming from a constituency who don't have gold to mine. We don't have even water or the sea to fish. We don't have agricultural lands. All we have are the youth, their skills, their manpower, and they are looking for jobs. The Takoradi port is lying. I've said this time and again. How are we moving traffic from Tema Port to Takoradi Port? So that at least the Takoradi Port, which used to be the hub of business in the Sekondi Takoradi, the western region, would become very, very, very active. So that the people can get job opportunities there. The 1D, 1F that government, previous government initiated, that absorbed almost about 600 to 700,000 jobs over its implementation. If there are challenges within it, how is government really looking at all those things, reconfiguring it so that we can give support to the private sector to be able to create a job, because the job creation sits at the private sector, not the public sector. Now look at the wage bill. We are talking about close to 50% of our revenues being used to pay wages. For how many Ghanaians? Less than 1 million. All our total revenue collection is used to pay, 50% is used to pay the salaries of less than 1 million Ghanaians. So if you continue to increase, like you now talking about, government intends to do more recruitment. Recruitment is normal because the attrition in any institution, people retire, people die, people leave the employ. And so there's always a need to replace in the public sector. But are we doing the replacement based on the organizational needs? Are we doing recruitment because if you take the organogram of the organization, that is what they need, or we are only creating those opportunities for the people because we just want to absorb people? Go to Cocoa Board today. Their total staff strength is in excess of 5,000. I learned it's close to 7,000. Doing what job? Now $12 million is required to pay for their salaries, and they are unable to raise even that money from within. Their work, because of the crisis within the cocoa sector, they can't even find their money to pay their salaries. So they are now looking back to government to help assist them do the payment. So when you take all of these together, I am questioning government that their support to absorb the growing unemployed youth is to give clear direction and support to the private sector. What does the private sector need? They need stability, which we are seeing in the macroeconomics. They need some reliefs, they need some exemptions, they need some support in terms of how we fashion our import-export things. If you want to grow in cocoa nkete, how are you changing your laws to minimize importation of poultry products? Okay. So there are a whole lot of things that are happening that you don't see clarity from government, and I'm worried. And I want all of us to be dispassionate about this conversation, so that at the end of the day, we get opportunities for the youth, we empower the private sector to create the jobs. Government doesn't create the impression as if it's the only sector that can absorb the growing teen unemployment. And then this country can be
you come in. So Richmond, who is the PR of the Energy Ministry, he sent a message. He says, please ask Honorable, that for 8 years, what did they do in those 5 constituencies within Second Data Crady Enclave? What jobs did you create? So hold on, hold on. And Godwin Tamaklu, who is the Chief Executive Officer of the MPA, he's been monitoring the conversation, but he said I should tell him, because he said, this is what, okay, let me just read verbatim what he sent. He says, good morning. Warmest greetings to Lanko Kwesi. Kindly tell him that his prodigal son will find his way home very soon. They said same regards to Honorable Lawyer
If you didn't, I was going to beat him so
bad. Oh, you're on the Energy Committee as well?
That is
I didn't
so.
know.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So you're on the Energy Committee of Parliament, and said his warmest regards to you as well. And let me just, and this one here from, your very good friend. Marco Joboafo. He sent us a message. Oh, good. Now, Marco Joboafo says, good morning, my brother. Uncle Kwesi is lecturing us on the whys and hows of the current ongoing war between the U.S., Israel, and Iran. Listening to Uncle Kwesi on the Middle East crisis is just wonderful. I now understand why President Mills wanted to make him the Ghana ambassador to Cuba. It is time he accepts the honorary degree from the university. He deserves it. Kudos to Uncle Kwesi. The Honorable MP is talking about fundamentals. Please tell him the exchange rate will expose him. We have low inflation. The city has found its level and still fighting the dollar, pound, and the euro. Need I say more? Okay. Now, Reverend Samuel J. is of the PNC. Says, good morning, Moro. Very interesting discussions. More honestly, we must be serious as a nation and put the development of our beloved nation than doing everything to let our political parties look good. I totally agree with Uncle Kwesi Pratt. We need to change the way we're doing things and concentrate on national economic development. Now, this one here from JC Boakon, political marketing expert, says, what kind of weird logic is Uncle Kwesi Pratt narrating on the studio? He says because there's a single-digit inflation, the figures are looking good. Iran-Israel-US war will have an effect on Ghana. As President Mahama rightly said in the opposition, 7,000 kilometers from Accra to Ukraine, I totally disagree with Kwesi Pratt. There will not be any minimal effect on Ghana. His cover-up to paint the government white will not stand by time. Ghanaians are widely awake. Single-digit inflation while prices of goods and services keep rising on a daily basis. Fuel prices are up and will increase again in the coming days. NDC has failed long time. JC Boakon, political marketers. But JC, we've said it time and again, inflation coming down doesn't mean prices are not going up.
But was he listening to this program?
The rate at which prices go up.
Charlie, hey. This man, was he listening to this program?
So, Carlos, your message is very
what is his name? JC Boakon.
JC Boakon. JC Boakon.
But obviously, he was not listening to this program.
So, Carlos, for the listening to the MP representative reminds me what one of their communicators, the Australian visa guy, said just a few weeks ago. This is what he said: if they maintain and continue on this trajectory of lies, they can make amends in 2028. So they should continue this trajectory of lies. So NDC, you need to be careful and fight back. Don't sit in your offices and remain idle. Don't wait until just 2 months before the election to respond. By then they would have already gained ground with their lies. Fight back now. And let me end with this one from Haji Hamza from Pig Farm. Says, good morning, my brother. In my humble opinion, meeting organized labor yesterday to explain issues concerning our military affairs to them was in the right direction, and I hope organized labor will take things in good faith. And I'm also happy to know that President Mahama has assured them that very soon things will improve and their living standards of condition will increase. This is a president who cares much about his people, and I have no doubt that he's going to live by his words. But truth be said, our minority should live up to expectation. As members of parliament, playing politics with national issues all the time is not healthy for our democracy and the nation. And that's from Alhaji Hamza from Pipfan. Some of Brian Boaben says that you have imposed 1 cedi levy on every litre of fuel on an already burdened populace, claiming it also shield us from external shocks, such as those unfolding in the Middle East. Yet fuel prices continue to rise. What then is the justification for this additional burden? From the outset, this government has shown a troubling disregard for the economic realities facing ordinary Ghanaians. The energy levy must be withdrawn immediately. Indeed, the umbrella has revealed its true colors. Never again. Lawyer Tamaklo should rest. Samuel Brian Boabeng says this one. Okojo Chumbafo says, hello, Moro. Ask Honorable what position he occupies in the Scandal Development Corporation. Hey, this matter.
I don't know why he's always coming up
to this scandal.
Could you please? You are
So Samaku Kelly says, Moro, good morning to you and your panelists. It's refreshing to hear that the President, in consultation with the security corps, has directed that the number of recruits be increased from 20,000 to 40,000 over a 4-year period. The team of unemployed youth who are willing to join the security services can only be thankful for this. It is hoped that similar efforts will be made in other sectors of the economy to create more jobs in the system. As for the agitation from the MP that money is refunded to applicants who couldn't make it, they should first of all tell Ghanaians how much they paid to 430,000 applicants in 2018. Then only 500 persons were selected for the immigration service out of the lot. Whoa, we have just 3 minutes. I don't know how Kwesi is going to do with this. How is he?
Well, I mean, first of all, just to express my utter shock at the reaction from this guy called JC Boakon. Obviously, he didn't listen to the program. Or he perhaps wrote this text yesterday or something. I just can't. So it's obvious that when we sit here and talk, there are people who listen to us, but they are listening to other voices other than our own voices and so on. But anyway, let's put that aside. Look, the rate of unemployment in this country is huge. There's no doubt at all about it. I mean, the recruitment to the security services somehow illustrates that. Even though I think that when we're looking at the figures, we ought to be careful. It is just possible that because of the fact that unemployment is so high, some persons apply to all the security services. So it is possible to have one person applying 3 times. So the 500,000 figure is not an absolute figure. It's a figure which needs to be interrogated further.
Just a piece of information. According to the ministry, because they were using a software that could track the multiplicity of applications, this 500,000 refers to different individuals and not multiple applications.
Oh, okay.
That is
okay. But thank you for the information. You know, but then I'm saying that we need to do this interrogation. You understand? I have some worries. And one of the worries is that the president has directed that the yearly intake be increased from 5 to 10,000. Now, if you do that, you need to find their salaries or wages or whatever. You need to find money for equipment. You need to find money for training and so on. I'm not so sure where that money is coming from, because the budget has already been approved.
That is right.
And this is a substantial amount.
Yes.
So we need to be told where the money is going to come from. Otherwise, there's a problem.
It's a fair question.
So that's a fair question. I agree with you. It's a fair question. But we need to find out where that money is going to come from. That's one. Again, doubling the intake does not resolve the fundamental problem of unemployment.
At all.
If we assume, and that's only an assumption, that there are 500,000 people looking for jobs, and you double the intake to 10,000, from 5,000 to 10,000 per year for 4 years, you're actually talking about 40,000 out of 500,000. Yeah. That leaves you with 2%. 460,000 or
that's
thereabout.
just 2% of the.
So it doesn't resolve the problem at all. Okay. Now, how do we resolve the problem? And I hear Honorable and people like him always talk about the private sector and so on. I get worried, because it is not true that only the private sector can improve the employment situation.
Not only, but they play a very significant.
But that is even not true.
Okay, let me hear you.
Because there are countries around the world without the private sector who have zero unemployment or near zero unemployment. So that argument cannot be tenable.
Okay.
You understand? I can give you examples. So it's not true. Okay. Again, if you look at the period between 1972 and 1975 thereabout, Ghana did tremendously well, in terms of mass mobilization for the resolution of the food problems that we have and some of the industrial problems and so on. Talking about Operation Feed Yourself and Operation Feed Your Industry program. It was not private sector led.
Okay.
That was state mobilization.
Right.
Okay. So state mobilization presents as an alternative, which also can be looked at.
Right.
So this emphasis on private sector and so on sometimes is problematic for me. But we have to understand that the private sector has only one motive, and that motive is maximization of profit.
Yeah.
And maximization of profit does not always coincide with the national objective.
Yeah.
So I think we need to be, and so on. We don't have enough time.
So then put it. I'll just take two minutes. Just take 2 minutes of your time, maybe two minutes each, and for us to look at this. But before I do that, let me look at this one from Manche Bruce. Now, Manche Bruce the second sends this message. He says, "Good morning, Moro. Brilliant submission from Uncle Kwesi and my MP, Honorable Yabo Amasofa. I tell you, if the U.S. Israel versus Iran war does not end soon, we're cooked as a country. The reason is that we depend largely on petroleum imports. What is government strategy to deal with the debacle in the long term? Remember, the price of gold is dropping, the dollar is rising, there is work to do, not positions to occupy. Anyway, happy 20th anniversary to Mr. and Mrs. Boama. God bless you. Bless your beautiful union. Tell Uncle Kwesi Pratt that one of my female students says he looks very sexy at 71. And that was a secret. Mantegu's the second. He wants to know. Now, Marco Jobafu says that.
Manche get a copy of my book.
No, he wants to come and pick it up himself. So,
so he hasn't got it.
No, I still have it with me. Yes, he just wants to come and collect it himself. So,
Marco Jobafu, I would have posted it to him.
I proposed that to him, but he said I should keep it. He'll come for it. Now, Marco Jobafu is back. He says, moreover, the president talked about the 500,000 applicants in his meeting with Labour yesterday. He said, if you scale it down to people applying in all sectors, the total is over 200,000 and not 500,000. So, Uncle Kwesi Pratt is right. Now, Desmond, who's the managing editor of the Catalyst newspaper, said the president said yesterday that about 190,000 persons applied for recruitment. Felix even said it on a program that the unique applicants were 180,000 plus. The ministry could have said what the Honourable is alluding to. And Owen Frempong, who's the MP for Asaman Kese, he says that, good morning, tell lawyer Boama to stop throwing dust to the good people of this country. He should allow us to enjoy the good governance. That's coming from Owen Kwame Frempong, MP for Asaman Kese. All right. So I want us to look at this. Just a minute each. I don't know what your thoughts are. You also, Morocco have been officially crowned champions of 2025 Africa Cup of Nations after the CAF Appeal Board overturned the result of the final against Senegal. The decision comes after the extraordinary scenes in Rabat, where the Lions of Teranga walked out of the pitch in protest, leading to a retrospective 3-0 forfeit victory for the host nation. Now, in a detailed statement, the Confederation of African Football, CAF, Appeals Board confirmed that the appeal lodged by the PRFM was declared admissible in form, and the appeal is upheld. The landmark ruling effectively strips Senegal of what would have been their second continental crown, rewarding the host for a match that descended into chaos during extra time. The roots of the controversy lie in a heated moment deep into stoppage time when Morocco's Brahim Diaz went down in the box while the referee initially waved play away. A VAR review resulted in a spot kick for the host. This sparked a furious confusion, reaction from the Senegalese bench, with head coach Dassa Pape Thiaw instructing his players to return to the dressing room in a protest that lasted several minutes. Now, the CAF Appeal Board found that the conduct of the Senegal team falls within the scope of Article 82 and 84 of the regulations of African Cup of Nations. Now, by leaving the field of play, Senegal was deemed to have infringed on the regulations, leading to the administrative 3-0 defeat. The ruling then sets aside the previous CAF disciplinary board decision and confirms that the protest lodged by Morocco has been fully upheld. The CAF statement read, the Confederation Africaine de Football Appeal Board decided today that in application of Article blah blah blah, so it repeats itself. Remember that earlier, the sanctions that were applied were that they were supposed to pay some amounts of money, some $400,000, some of the individual police were supposed to pay, and it was supposed to end there. Then there was an appeal by Morocco, and that has been overturned. And they cite CAF's own rules and regulations to back that decision and say that, look, Senegal were stripping of the title, we're now giving it to Morocco. But Senegal themselves have said, as for them, as far as they're concerned, they're still the African champions. And they're actually going to appeal for it. So a minute each. I don't know how what you make of this interesting development in African football.
I honestly think that this is a scandal.
Oh, it's a scandal.
The decision by the CAF Appeals Board is a complete scandal.
Oh, but they're just applying the rules and regulations.
Which
and
rules and regulations? It's so scandalous. It's so scandalous we shouldn't encourage it. In any case, the Senegalese say that the CAF is with them. And that the Moroccan should go and collect. What
come and collect. Yes. You know.
So, more I side with Kwesi on this. I believe that football is won on the pitch, not in the boardroom of anybody. Their reference to Article 82 only speaks about players who stop playing or walk off the field without authorization. And there's always a distinction in terms of their own regulation that speaks about, in interpreting it, you have to have a definitive abandonment or refusal to continue rather than temporary protest. So in temporary, what happened sit around temporal protest.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, they came back, they were called, they came back, they played.
Both
they
sides agreed to play.
And they concluded, and somebody won the game. So why do you come back and say they walked off the pitch when they had come back to come and play, and then you take the title? So I think it's a scam. I think it is scandalous, and it shouldn't be entertained by CAF.
Someone has sent a message. I don't want to mention the person. It says, Boro, I smell a rat.
A very fat
rat.
Okay. I mean, and interestingly, Morocco manages to do very strange things.
Yes.
I mean, here in Ghana, they did something that I'm still struggling to understand. They got the Akufo-Addo administration just minutes before he left office to issue a statement closing down the representation of the Saudi Arab Democratic Republic. And they have managed to get the Muhammad administration to continue it up to today.
You mean
only Morocco can get NDC and NPP to act together?
Whatever the public wants to do with this information is entirely up to them. Relative to what happened.
But it's true. Only Morocco can do that. I mean, I've never seen this happen before.
Yes, I'm saying that
they got NDC and NPP to agree.
I'm saying that this piece of useful information you just shared with us, whatever the public wants to use that information for, relative to what's happening to CAF, is up to them. Anyway, so let me say happy birthday to you. So our time is up. The programs manager was magnanimous enough to give us some 10 minutes, and we've utilized it. So thank you very much, Efrio, for that. So happy birthday to you, Dr. Arnold Kavapo. He's a very good friend of mine. He's a what's the name? The Data Protection Commission. He's the head there. He's the executive director. Now, this one is coming from the Ignite Media Group. So that's him, a very young chap doing wonderful things at the Data Protection Commission. He also tells me that he was bequeathed with a very empty place, so he's now starting all over. So happy birthday to you, Dr. Arnold Kavapo, Executive Director, Data Protection Commission, sending you warm wishes for a day full of joy and warmth and laughter as well. May the coming year bring you peace, love, and endless opportunities. All right. Thank you very much for watching another edition of Good Morning Ghana. My name is Aldo Moro, and thanks to Mr. Kwesi Pratt Jr., seasoned veteran journalist, former managing editor of the Inside Newspaper, and also MP for the Efia constituency, lawyer Isaac Boama Nyako. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. Bye-bye.
What was all this drama of coming to my class late today?
I told you I'm pregnant. What are you doing about it?
I said, Abado, why am so?
Hey, oh, please, I'll be teaching you won't. Shall we Phoebe? Shall not say I pass our bravo?
But why are you saying that?
That girl is a charlatan.